hood cleaner. Coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine. No use to fight back. MMA. Knock your nigga head like a KKK. Push your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smokes. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil. Pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch. Got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Assassin hood cleaner. Coming for your Rasta.
What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? As usual, hope we're doing well. It is a Thursday, and we are doing our what has kind of become a usual Thursday stream. Although over the next couple of weeks, I am definitely going to be like moving full time into the new place, and because of that, we'll probably be back to the usual schedule, which is Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Jeez, excuse me. Sorry about that, but yeah, hope we're all doing well tonight. What's going on, Cavalog? What's going on, Jackson Levine? 90. Hey, welcome, man. Welcome. That's what we're doing here tonight. Um, man, like I'm a little bit nervous because my microphone was fucking up in the game on Tuesday when I streamed last. And not only was the microphone fucking up, but just the entirety of the stream was just disastrous. It was one of those days I had mush mouth, I couldn't get things out, and I was really, really frustrated. I was just uncomfortable the whole time too. It was like just fucking one of those days, but I privated that stream immediately. like as soon as I got done, I was like, all right, like fucking fuck this, you know. But yeah, hope everyone's doing well tonight, you know. Um, and yeah, I thought that was funny too. Cavalog, somebody with the last name Levine, which to my understanding is a Jewish last name. Nothing against you, Mister Levine. It's all good. It's all good. I don't mind that you happen to be Jewish. It's just funny the joke Cavalog made. You know, your audio just dropped for about a second and a half. There's a slight crackle. Really, you got to be fucking kidding me, bro. You got to be kidding me, bro. Like, I got a new um. I got a new I got a new microphone, right? Here, let me move this away a little bit, then it won't peak as much. But I got a new microphone recently, and not a new microphone, excuse me. Not a new microphone. I got a new USB to attach my microphone, right? To attach my mic. I got a new cable is what happened. I got a new cable for my microphone, and on Tuesday was the first day that I was using it. It's just a simple USB that you would use for like a blue snowball, or in this case, I have one of those like Focusrite boxes that you can use to adjust levels and stuff like that. All I had to do was plug it in there, and for some reason on Tuesday, the thing just would not work. Like it would not work very well. It would not work very well, you know. And then today you're telling me that the audio dropped for about a second and a half, and there's a slight crackle. It's like I'm hoping the crackle I'm hoping the crackle is going away, and I'm hoping the audio doesn't drop again. I don't know what else to do. Like, do I just return this and get a new one? Like, I do I need a new box? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna listen a little bit here. Give me one moment. Of course, ads. Jeez. I'm dealing with a fucking finger infection, right? It sounds like the XLR cable. What's the XLR cable? Is that the one that goes from microphone to box, or is that the one that goes from box to um computer? I'm curious about that. You know, I don't know crap, but when I hear that crackle, I'm always convinced it's a lead or a lead or wire issue. Oh yeah, it testing, 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 testing. Yeah, this is this is insane because like when I test it out, I'll sit here, right? You guys should be able to hear me now. I'll sit here and I'll do like 5 minutes straight of just sitting talking nonstop, and it'll be all good. It's the second I start up a stream, all of a sudden there's some kind of fucking bullshit going on. It's crazy. Your audio cut with a crash the second you touched it. Ah, I see. Yeah. Oh man, I hate technology, dude. And the thing is, like if this was happening to me, like even a year ago, if this was happening to me, or like 2 years ago, especially, I'd be like, oh, dude, I gotta fix this. I gotta make sure it gets fixed. Everything's got to be all good, you know. But this is like I'm just so busy with things that are not this now that it's like whatever. If things are gonna be shitty, they're just kind of be shitty for the most part. I'm not saying that I have no interest in trying to figure out what's going on, but it's just like I don't know what else to do really. I'm having a um it's I got other shit I got to do, It is what it is. Man. But yeah, I was telling you guys I have a fucking infection that is like it's healing on my finger. So now I just have like I just have like skin hanging off, and it's the most annoying and weird, uncomfortable thing. But anyway, yeah, I apologize for all that. I don't know what the deal is. I'm gonna try and figure it out. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna try to figure out what's going on. That way we don't have this problem. Because if there's one thing that's extremely annoying, it's trying to stream and then I can't because I'm like, oh shit. Well, my audio's busted and I don't know how to fix it in the moment. Oh, dude. Oh no. Oh, dude. It's so fucking annoying. But anyway, yeah. And you know what sucks too? What especially sucks about it is that it completely takes me off my game. Where now I'm sitting here and like it's like, where did I leave off? What am I doing now? What am I fucking doing right now? What were we talking about? What should I talk about? I almost like legit. I'm gonna keep going, obviously, but it's like it makes it so tough to be able to just roll with the punches because I didn't come on here with any specific topic today. I had a couple of things that I thought maybe I could discuss a little bit, but I didn't have anything like that I was like prepping for. I just wanted to come on here and shoot the shit with you guys, which is what I do most of the time. And because of that, now I'm just like, fuck. What am I gonna do? Oh no, what am I gonna do? Ah, Man, when you buy stuff like this, the least they can do is work. Life is complicated enough as is. Oh yeah, for sure, 100%, you know? Like that's the thing I can't stand about the tech field. I can't stand like the tech field specifically is well known for this, taking a very simple process and complicating the fuck out of it because there's somebody somewhere in an office who wants to reinvent the wheel so that they can say they're the one who reinvented it, you know? Almost every UI interface change or UI interface, almost every UI change that you've ever seen on like YouTube or Google or something else, it wasn't made because it was better. A lot of the time it's actually a downgrade compared to what they had before. It was made because there's some asshole named Prandeep Rajindahar sitting at Google. He worked his way up and he's like, I think I will redo the user interface for the Google search engine so that it will be caste specific. So if you are part of the untouchable caste, you cannot use it. We will display a message that says you must go to Bing or DuckDuckGo. Fucking like you literally have dudes like that, people who they're not innovators, they're just people who came along after the innovation was created and it's their job to do upkeep, you know. And look, on one hand I can understand, because when you see something that you are a part of, you're going to want to try to improve it. You're going to feel inspired if you're a part of something that big, and you're going to want to try your best to leave your mark on it. But also you got to know what a good idea is from a bad idea. And a lot of these people, they don't know what a bad idea is, and they're just so desperate to change something so that they can say they changed it, that they're willing to uproot the usability just to fuck around so that they can slap their name on it. It's so annoying, you know. Duck duck soup go. Every business trend points towards everything getting worse. Oh yeah, completely and totally, you know. UI cannot stop getting worse over job security for sure, you know. It's like how middle managers will micromanage the people below them in order to justify their existence, to feel like they actually have something to do every day instead of just like relaxing and trying to generate money for the company. The people like the engineers and whoever's job it is to think about usability or just like the efficiency or the streamlinedness, if that's even a word, of the product, like they do that same damn thing because they're like, oh no, I need to make sure that the boss knows not to fire me. But the thing is, if you're gonna get fired, you're gonna get fired. If you're gonna get let go, you're gonna get let go. You know, they're not gonna care. Especially like they don't care what you did yesterday. You know, working for a corporation is like dating a woman. They don't care what you did for them yesterday. All they care about is how they feel right now. And if she feels like she doesn't love you anymore, well, then it doesn't matter that you just got done paying off all her student debt. She's going to kick you to the curb. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, and I think that's why women really thrive in the modern corporate structures, because they took something that was originally very masculine and they made it into something that women are like in control of, either directly or indirectly via HR and DEI shit, you know? Um, and because of that, like that's just what you see. Not that like before you wouldn't get fired or let go, laid off is the word I was looking for. It's not that that wouldn't happen before the rise of HR and bureaucracy and stuff like that, but I guarantee you it happened a lot less. You know, if you were not valuable, you were probably not around in the first place. It was very rare that you would do something so good for the company and then they'd be like, hey, thanks, pal. Get the fuck out. You know? Oh man. Forget about innovating. Maintaining is so much of an ask. Oh yeah, for sure. You know, that's the tough part. Like, oh, excuse me. That's the tough part, because like things scale and you got to try and make sure that that service that you're using is going to scale. Also, like upkeep is not fun. I think about this sometimes. I started a kickboxing class out of my gym. It was like a separate thing from what my gym does usually. And like for the first couple of months, yeah, it was exciting and fun, but like 4 to 5 months into it, I think I ran the thing for a total of like 6 or 7 months. For like 4 or 5 months, it was excuse me, for like 2 or 3 months. Uh, it was like fun and exciting, and then everything after that was just like, oh, I got to come in here and do that again. It's upkeep is what it is, and you got to be able to do it even when you're bored. But like a lot of people are just not good with that. A lot of people are not comfortable with like just being the stewards of something. Me, I'm someone who I'm very comfortable doing the same thing every day so long as I get to listen to music while I do it. So long as I get to listen to podcasts, so long as it's something that I get left alone to do so that I can do it at my own pace, whenever I feel like I got to duck into the back and check my phone, I can go ahead and do that. I'm totally fine with that kind of thing. But there's some people out there who, they're ambitious in a way that is sort of stupid. You know, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. Of course, you should be ambitious in whatever way you can. But I'm not going to be ambitious for like some corporate setting that doesn't value me in any way, shape, or form. Fuck that. I love maintaining. My department is literally called maintenance. You see, that'll work, butthole. That'll get the job done. If they aren't changing the UI right now, then their entire department is redundant and have no purpose being employed. Ergo, it's consistent low-level design change to meet bare minimum requirements. And yeah, it's kind of like I was saying, just justifying their existence. And that's what happens when you do a little bit too much growth. Like you can't just have like not that DEI is a good thing, but like you can't just have human resources and then there's somebody who does the DEI shit in human resources. Now they have like whole DEI DEI departments, excuse me, that seem to either run parallel to or at least in conjunction with their human resources a lot of the time. And it's like, man, and that's going to make it even worse. That makes a lot of things so much more worse. Scamming is an incredibly lucrative industry, to be fair. Oh yeah, 100%. A buddy of mine calls it fraud world, not just scamming, but like just the world we live in, right? There's clown world and everything like that, but what we really live in today is fraud world. Which, speaking of which, I should release those videos I made. I liked I liked that saying that he created so much that I used it for a couple of videos that I did. They were griefing videos. I'll have to release those at some point because they were fun to make and they were fun to do, and they kind of helped me to blow off steam. I actually wanted to make one last year, but I tried as hard as I could. I just could not get around to it. It just didn't work out for me. Um, but yeah, he calls it fraud world, and everybody's just trying to make money through whatever grift they have to pick up. Like I feel foolish because I can remember. Look, I was a little naive. I guess you could even say I'm still a little bit naive in some ways, but like I was especially naive in my early to mid 20s. And one of the things that I did was I thought I was doing the right thing by not calling my boss a slur and getting fired so that I could collect unemployment plus $600 a week. That's what happened with a lot of people. Most people lost their jobs temporarily for COVID, and they got unemployment, whatever rate they would typically get, plus a $600 boon on top of that. And then on top of that, they got the COVID stimulus checks. I think there was like two or three of them. Like I was working in a I forget what they called it, but like it was considered necessary. It was considered necessary that my job continued. And me, I was like, it's all right, hey, I'm a better man for doing this. And it's like, better man, I'm fucking retarded is what I am. I should have I didn't like my boss. I fucking hated my boss. I should have called him a mean name so that I would get fired, and then I could be like, "Oh no, hey, Uncle Sam, give me a fucking job. Not a job. Give me money. Give me fucking money now." You know? it was so stupid of me. And I only got $1 per hour raise temporarily because of the COVID differential. So we're supposed to be working in what is the deadliest pandemic of our lifetime, and I'm getting paid $1 an hour, $40 per week extra to work in a deadly pandemic and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, that was retarded. Now I embrace fraud world a little bit more, and I'm just trying to see what I can get out of people. For instance, right? Um, oh, damn it. I got my T-shirt from I got my T-shirt from the UFC store, and I got two free T-shirts from the UFC store because I bitched and moaned enough. The naive Scott would have been like, oh well, those people were really disrespectful and that wasn't okay. Those people were mean, but that's fine. I'm just gonna move on. I'm just gonna move on and I'm gonna live my life and I'm gonna have a good time. Um, like this time I didn't do that. I told the story about how I was at the UFC White House event a couple of weeks ago, and some of the staff were like really mean to my wife and I. I told that story. Um, but like because of that, instead of just moving on and being like, "Well, what do you know about that?" I bitched and moaned to the people at Fanatics who run the UFC store until they said they would refund me for the one shirt that I bought, and then they would send me two free shirts. So I got three shirts for the price of one, and then who knows, maybe that refund will actually go through. I hope it does, but even if it doesn't, it's like, well, I got three shirts for $40, so I'm not going to bitch and moan too much. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it, right? And I know that you guys, all like five of you, it even says there's only two of you here on YouTube, but on Streamlabs it says five. It says a whopping five people are watching me right now. I'm sure you guys don't need this, but it's like I said, I was naive, and I want to help other people who were like me, who were naive like me or are naive like me. I want to help people who went through similar stuff that I went through. That's part of the reason I started this channel. Um, you need to impose costs on people is one of the things that I've learned. You can't just get fucked with for free. If somebody's going to fuck with you, there needs to be some kind of pound of flesh. You need to take a pound of flesh from them in some way, shape, or form. And, even if it's not directly the people that were rude to me, it was the company that they worked for. They gave me a bunch of free shit. So, hey, I'll take that. We have grown to be so afraid of consequences today that we're willing to let people kill us over nothing, you know? And we're not willing to fight back and everything like that. And I talked about this on Twitter recently, but when people think about like stopping someone from jerking it on the subway or like doing some other horrible, horrible thing, um, a lot of the time people will be like, I don't want to end up as the next Daniel Penny. I don't want to be the next Daniel Penny. And I can understand that because you know what? I don't want to be the next Daniel Penny either. I don't want to be someone who like I'm doing the right thing by stopping somebody who's putting other people in danger and then I end up on trial. I don't want to do that. However, you need to realize that Daniel Penny was way, way, way out of the norm. Was way out of the norm. That doesn't happen every day. That doesn't even happen every other day. That was so out of the ordinary that it made the news. That's how out of the ordinary it was. If you step up to the guy on the subway, there's a very good chance that you're not going to get shot or stabbed, and you're not going to end up like Daniel Penny ended up. You're probably going to be fine. Now, am I saying you pick fights with everybody who's being a little weird or annoying in public? No, of course not. Of course not. However, like, I just feel that we have become so devoid, I guess you could say devoid of conflict. Our instincts to stand up for ourselves and to stand up for people around us who are innocent and can't protect themselves, we have become so devoid of that because of the way the modern world works that we will literally just get spat on constantly. They will just constantly um be humiliated. There will be humiliation rituals happening every 2 seconds, and we'll be like, no, I don't want to be Daniel Penny, you know? It's like fucking A. And I think I explained this in the last stream. I think this is one of the things that I was talking about in that stream that I privated because it was just disastrous. But if this is doing nothing and this is either killing the guy or getting killed, these are just the two extremes on a big spectrum of everything that could happen between those 2 points. You're more likely to end up somewhere in the middle than you are to end up on either of these two extremes. I mean, if you do nothing, you're always going to end up on the do nothing extreme, you know? But if you decide to do something, you're probably not going to go all the way to the point where there is a fatality, whether it's you or that guy. Obviously, you want to be careful, and obviously, not every battle is worth fighting. But um, you can like stand up for yourself, man. Stand up. Where's your backbone? Damn it! Where's your goddamn backbone? Um, it's it's something that I think a lot of people need to hear. And I'm not saying you guys, the people that are watching me right now, I'm not saying you guys are the ones that need to hear that. But it's like I said, I started this channel to try to help people who were in a similar situation to me. And because of that, I want to make sure that if there is anybody out there who's kind of like, oh, man, but like, why are you sure I should do something about this? It's like, yeah, you probably should. You probably should, I told a black guy to stop talking on the bus today. It feels good, man. Exactly. And you didn't end up getting stabbed or beat up or anything like that. You just told the dude, yo, you're making tons of noise, man. You want to not do that? And well, it worked. That's like it was Saturday or Sunday, right? I'm at the new place I'm gonna be at with my wife, and we're walking around the neighborhood just kind of exploring. And we take a turn down this street and we're walking, right? It's a dead end street that we used a dirt path to get to. And around the corner comes this fucking dude in like a drug dealer BMW, or maybe it was an Acura or something like that. BMW and Acura are like drug dealer cars, right? Not everybody who drives them is a drug dealer, but chances are it's somebody who's trying to appear like there's some kind of hood motherfucker. This dude flies down the street going like 30 or 40 on like a residential side street with cars on both sides. So it's like thin street. Um, there's no reason to be going that fast down the street. Flies by my wife and I, and then he hits the dead end and he uses that to turn around. And then he starts driving fast at my wife, basically. So I gotta be like, baby, 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 get over here, get over here, get over here. And as the dude drives by, I start fucking yelling at him, right? I'm not gonna lie. I told him, "Get out the car. I'll beat the brakes off of you." That is what I said. I was feeling protective of my wife here. Now, this dude lived on the street. He pulls over in front of his house. He hops out the car. Turns out it's like a 15 well, he couldn't have been 15. He was driving, but like 16, 17-year-old teenager, some fucking teeny bopper Gen Z wigger. Which like I'll talk about this in a second. Why are wiggers still a thing? Right? I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But like I see that this is just like some punk ass teenager, and I'm like, all right, maybe I don't need to beat the fuck out of this guy, but you know what? I am gonna say something when I get there. We keep walking. I make eye contact with the dude, and I'm like, yo, you need to watch how you're driving around here, man. And he starts trying to talk back to me and shit like that. Not like anything too crazy. He knew, like, oh man, this guy's big and scary, and I would probably lose that fight. So he starts walking to his house, and he's kind of like giving me a little bit of lip, and then he ends up slamming the door. And after he slams the door, he starts talking actual shit. So I spat on his steering wheel. This fucking idiot left his window down, so I went hawk to spit on that thing is what I did. And yeah, like nothing crazy happened. And I'm willing to bet that kid's going to be a little more careful about how he drives. And that was a little bit extreme of me. That was a little bit extreme of me to be like, oh, you're going to talk shit, But like this kid is clearly intimidated and he doesn't want to feel like he lost, but he knows, like I had to do that. Not the spitting thing. Like I said, that was extreme, but confronting this dude was a very important thing for me to do, not just because like he was driving at my wife. That is part of it, but because my wife and I are considering trying to buy the house that we're going to be living in. which means we're going to have kids and they're going to grow up in that neighborhood. And we're going to have some Zoomer wigger driving around 30, 40 miles an hour down these fucking side streets where my kids are going to be hanging out and playing and stuff like that. No fucking way. I had to make sure I said something to this kid because he needs to know, hey, there's other people that live here. Don't be fucking driving like that, bro. You know? And that's part of the reason why the world has gone to shit is because a lot of people, specifically the people who could and will do something when somebody is acting out of pocket, they've become so nervous about what if I become Daniel Penny or what if I become insert white victim of black crime here. Like they're so nervous about it that they don't say anything. And because of that, the neighborhood just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, you know? And if that kid did escalate, I could have escalated a lot higher, a lot quicker, and in many different ways beyond what he would have even imagined, you know? Um, I considered escalating further after that. I considered doing something that it wouldn't have been illegal or anything like that, but I considered doing something else after that. But I was like, nah, you know what, whatever. I hope the kid learned the lesson. We're just gonna keep on fucking moving, you know? Um, but yeah, it's like Cavalog says, "Man, I grew up being told turn the other cheek and to be the bigger man, and it never ended my issues. And then one day I beat one of them with a wooden stick, and things became okay afterwards." Oh yeah, exactly. You know, it's a feminized world where like they just try to control everybody that they can. You know, like we're kind of veering into another topic as to why people say that shit, which like if I try to veer too far into that, I'm gonna do that thing where I talk in a disjointed manner and I don't make the point as quickly and easily as I want to. So I'm not gonna delve too deep into that. But like the bottom line is, oh, excuse me, you need to have some fucking backbone. You need to stand up and be like, nah, that's not happening, you know? And that's something that if you watch media from like the birth of television, if you watch like Leave It to Beaver and all this other stuff, it's pretty common for those shows to have like fights and not like fight episodes where like you know what I'm talking about. There's one of those in every kids cartoon or movie or TV show where it's like there's going to be a fight at the end of the day. It's going to be the bully versus the main character, and the main character is like, "Gee, how do I handle this?" And he goes to like all these people and they all tell him, "Hey, violence isn't the answer, buddy. Violence isn't the answer. We can talk our problems out." And then at the end of the episode there's no fight. It's like the main character says or does something that diffuses the situation. That wasn't the way it was back in the day. You had, and I don't know if Leave It to Beaver specifically was like this, but like that's one of the older shows that people think of when they think of like family values and stuff like that. You had episodes of shows and other things like that that really made sure to be like, hey, you got to stand up for yourself. You got to stand up for yourself. You would have a kid who goes home with like a black eye and the dad would be like, well, son, I could take care of this for you, but it's not going to teach you the lesson that sometimes you got to stand on your own 2 feet and you got to push back. And we don't have that anymore, and it's because our society has become so feminized, but again, like veering into another, this audio's wiling out. Really? You gotta be fucking kidding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the audio, guys. I'm sorry about the audio. This is so frustrating, bro. I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know how to handle this. It's just straight up. It's wigging out. It's wiling out. Am I still good? Am I still like okay? And I can see on the audio capture thing, it's like it's quiet and then out of nowhere, bang, it goes into the red. It starts peaking. I'm sorry, like I don't even know how to fix this is the crazy thing. What the hell do I even do? Maybe I can start a new actually yo, what the fuck, man? Dude, this is I gotta ask Chat GPT what's going on with this or something like that. I'm gonna have to take a snippet of this stream and be like, hey, what's the deal here? Is the audio good? Is the audio good right now? Is it passable? Is what I should ask. Is it passable? Gee, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. You know, please let me know. You know, but yeah, like you gotta stand up for yourself. You're good and audible. It's just auto changing levels and slight cackle. It's not that IMO. Yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe I need a new microphone, or maybe I need a new XLR cable, or maybe I need another new USB. You know, the thing is, like I always had like the reason I got a new USB is because I noticed a little bit of an issue with the old USB. And if the issue got immediately worse right after I replaced the USB, it's like, well, maybe this USB was defective. But then also, maybe it is the XLR cable because I've had this XLR cable for as long as I've had this microphone, which has been like 2 or 3 years now. And then I got this from Richie99. He was using it for however long he was using it for. And you know, he like when he gave it to me, it was in good shape. But I mean, things get older, things stop working. You know, it's not that bad. IMO can't fucking type well. Arm sweating like hell. The humidity is through the roof here, and the screen ain't screening. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. You know, fucking hey, dude. Got called out once and met the fella for a scrap in a local field, and I'll never forget that was the one time we did legit talk it out, ended with a handshake. Always be proud of that one. Risky though. Oh yeah, for sure, you know. Like just the fact that you're willing to show up, it's like there's nothing wrong with showing up and being like, "Look, I want to talk this out if we can. If you want to throw hands, we can, but I'd rather talk it out." And if it comes down to it, you throw hands and whatever, you know. That's one thing that I find very cringe about boomers is that they have like a safe tough guy thing going on where like if you one of the things boomers love to do is say, I don't start it, I finish it. That's like such a boomer, safe, tough guy thing to do, thing to say. Another one is you meet up, you fight it out, and then you have a beer after. You get some beers after is what you do. Again, very boomer, safe, tough guy type stuff. I don't believe that ever happened in the history of the world. I think right after a fight like that, maybe you shake hands, maybe you go your separate ways, and then maybe you see each other next time and you're like, hey man, what's going on? And then maybe you develop a friendship after that. But like that's not the way that shit works, you know. And boomers are just like they simultaneously want to be tough guys, but they also want to be like, hey, violence isn't the answer, buddy. They want to be both of those things at the same time, and it's like, yo, what the fuck, man. But yeah, um I mean, the world has just become feminized, you know. A lot of people who say violence isn't the answer, what they're trying to do is they're trying to manipulate you in some way, shape, or form, because that's what it is. There's two ways to get somebody to do what you want them to do. It's either coercion or it is violence. Coercion doesn't always necessarily mean you better do this or else, but it basically covers diplomacy. Right? You might manipulate somebody into doing what you want or try and bargain with them or some other thing like that. So people who are completely and totally averse to violence, it's usually that they're not good at violence, and maybe they're even a little bit afraid that they won't be able to get their way through that. So they only try to allow you to use coercion to try and deal with them. And because of that, they are slippery because you're playing a made up game. This whole language thing, these noises that I'm making with my mouth, it's made up. It's natural in a way, but it's unnatural as well. Where, um, you know, like we're making fucking sounds with our mouths, not to be Mister like nihilist, like you're an electric meat machine, haha. You're a bunch of meat on top of bones that's being electrified, and you can do anything you want. Not even to be that way, right? But um, when you have things that are ethereal in nature, when you have concepts that really only exist inside of the conscience of somebody that is able to understand and either go along with or subvert it, it's really hard to pin somebody down. And that's where you get a lot of people who are like sociopaths and narcissists and they like to play these games and all this other stuff, is because they know that if they can take the violence aspect off the table, that there's no way they're going to be held down, because anything you try to present to them that is like considered to be decorum or fair treatment or just what is supposed to happen, any kind of rule, they'll just be like, nah, I don't do that. Nah, I don't care. I want this, so I'm gonna do it. I don't care. No, no, I don't care what you're saying. And that's a very feminine thing. Women try to like. Have you ever had a woman? Have you ever had a woman pull this move? You're talking to her, and then she tries to like be like, "Hey, time out, time out." She tries to like referee. She's like, "Time out, flag on the field." You can't say that. You can't say that. No, don't say that. No. How could you say that? You can't say that. Like, women love to do that shit because, again, like, women are not good at violence. They think they are for some fucking reason, but they're not good at violence. The only thing they can be good at is like forcing you to adhere to a rule set that they claim will help you to get whatever it is that you want or need, and then just completely and totally subverting that rule set to get whatever they want and need out of any given situation. And that's the world we live in today, is that kind of world. um Man, you see the audio levels again. Like, my hands are right here, my hands are right here. The audio levels, for some fucking reason, they're just going up and down, up and down. Now I'm hitting the yellow, right? Before, I was having a hard time hitting the yellow. I have no clue why that is the case. I have no clue why that is the case. I used to play games like crazy back when. I'd do stuff like tell people, watch out for me. I'll be wearing my red shoes when we're meeting for a scrap, and then I'd show up in boots. Mental games have a. I'll wait for the rest of that one. Yeah, that's funny. Community consensus is XLR cable. This chat is more efficient than GPT. Love to see it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna have to check that out. To me, it sounds like the XLR from the mic to the interface. That's supported by it going out when you touch the mic. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a new XLR cable then. Either that or maybe I need a new interface as well. Because these things again, like, I don't even remember where I got the Focusrite that I have. I don't even remember where I got that thing, because I don't think Richie gave it to me, or maybe he did. I got the mic from Richie. I don't know if I got the oh no, no, no. I did get the Focusrite from Richie. I did. He just didn't have a USB for me to use, so I had to use the one from my old snowball, my old blue snowball from when I was trying to be Sargon of Akkad back in 2017. Holy shit, heady days. But anyway, yeah. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm not gonna end it just because the audio is like fucking annoying. It just sucks. I already My viewership has been dwindling for a long time, but it kind of stabilized between 150 and 200 viewers per stream, total, not concurrent. And it's just really frustrating to have these kinds of issues because I know there's people who would usually be here like, yeah, I definitely want to watch this. And um, because the microphone is so fucky, they're like, I can't watch this. And then that's one more person who's like, yeah, nah, I guess I just don't watch Scott's streams anymore. You know, that's frustrating. But hey, we're in it for the love of the game, but it doesn't mean I don't like having tons of viewers. Tons more viewers than I have now anyway. Um, I used to play games like crazy back when. I'd do stuff like tell people, watch out for me. I'll be wearing my red shoes when we're meeting for a scrap. And then I'd show up in boots. Mental games have a place, but only if you're still willing to go to the whole hog and back it up. Can't walk into a situation depending on them. They're just a cherry on top when you're confident. Um, yeah, I get what you're saying, Cavalog, and I don't think you're I mean, yeah, like you mess with people's heads if you're gonna fight them. But I wasn't even necessarily talking about that either. Like when I talk about head games, what I mean is like literally like the female shit. you know? Like for instance, there's this woman that I was dating. I was a sophomore in high school. She was either in 8th grade or she was like a freshman or something like that, right? Um I'm pretty sure she was a freshman, you know. She was either like an older 8th grader, like she stayed back a year, or she was a freshman. I forget which one of those it was, but um and I remember she was from a different town. You wouldn't know her, okay? You wouldn't know her. But she decided she was going to cheat on me. And when she cheated on me, she almost got pregnant. She was like scared that she was pregnant and stuff like that. And I learned about this. And this is a girl who, again, I'm dating. We are boyfriend and girlfriend, and we had not had sex yet. So she decided she would have sex with some other guy or something like that. And we would never have sex, by the way, which is a good thing because, you know, fucking like when you're in high school, you're like, dude, sex, I gotta have sex. But like now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, yeah, nah. Would have been better to be a virgin for my wife, but hey, you know, that is what it is. But like, she and I had not had sex and we would never have sex. And then she ended up sexing some other fucking guy from her hometown. And it's like that was obviously like a really big blow to my emotional state. So I call her a cunt, and all of a sudden I'm getting calls, I'm getting texts, all this fucking bullshit from like not just her but her friends who are like, you never call a girl that, you never call a girl that, that is not a word you call a girl, you never call a girl that. Like, that's the type of shit that they love to pull, is like I cheated on you and now I think I'm carrying another man's baby, but or another man, another kid's, another fucking teenager's baby. Um, but you called me a cunt for it, so actually you're the bad guy. You don't say that. You don't ever say that. What the fuck? You don't say that kind of thing. What's your problem? Like, how could you say that? What the fuck? Like, you have that type of shit is kind of what I was referring to, you know? And here's the audio issues again. Now it's going lower. It's going lower, you know. She's sick to the Becky squad on you, fucking basically, you know. Um, man, I don't even notice mic issues. Says KBJ. Yeah, well, I'm happy about that then. You know, good. That's good. You know, but I'm even noticing the microphone issues because if I wanted to try and talk to the level that I can see on Streamlabs, I would have to talk even louder than I'm talking now. But I don't want to be like yelling throughout the house. Like even talking as loud as I was there was like it was not getting to the levels that it was 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes ago. And it's like, what is going on here? What the fuck is going on? You know? Man. But yeah, you gotta stick up for yourself, man, you know? And like it means that every now and again you're gonna be in some kind of conflict. And that just is what it is. Like you don't get to decide how often you're gonna have to get buck. And I'm not saying like, you know, you start fights with everybody constantly, but you know what? People don't like it when you stand up for yourself. And because of that, they're going to try and push back. And if you don't let them fuck with you, you're all good, you know? Oh, excuse me. It's like one weekend I have to tell this guy to stop talking to me the way he is because he's being a fucking asshole. The next weekend there was the situation with the wigger, right? You know, you don't get to decide when it's time to stand up for yourself. So if you're in conflict all the time, it's like, well, you know, that's not always necessarily a bad thing. Is it a good thing too? I mean, not necessarily. I think it just is what it is. I do think it's very important that you don't get fucked with all the time, though, because you do feel a certain spiritual damage. There is a spiritual damage that occurs when you constantly go through humiliation rituals like that. And I can feel the difference, right? There are situations where like I'll be bothered for like for instance, I told a story, it was either late last year or early this year, where I went to a restaurant and a woman comes in with her family. It's like this one dude who looks to be like 17, 18, 19, and then there's two smaller children, not like infants, but you know, they're children. And instead of waiting to like see if anybody is in line in front of her, she decides she's going to cut the line and talk to the hostess before I could with my wife, who we were there for like a couple of minutes at that point. So I said something to her. I was like, Hey, we were here first. She was like, we have a reservation. She just like bitchy, right? I'm not going to give you every little detail, but it ended with me and her son in each other's faces. Nothing happened. He stepped off. But after that, right? Even though nothing crazy happened, even though it's not like I lost that situation, I was still pretty fucking upset about it for the better part of a month. I'm talking like, 2.5, 3 weeks, not like once a day, right? But more often than I should have. I was sitting there thinking, man, I wish I fucking hit that kid. I should have fucking just elbowed the fuck out of that kid. I should have headbutted him, right? I'm thinking about all the stuff that I wish I could have done that would have felt better than just standing in the dude's face and saying, "Hey, tell your mom to get better manners," right? And it's a good thing that none of that happened. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I should have for sure, but you know what? The fact that I didn't get any real satisfaction from that, the fact that that kid stepped up in my face and there was no real apology once he stepped off, and he tried to act like he was still hard and everything like that, it pissed me off. And I don't think that's a good thing to constantly be going through those kinds of situations. I think sometimes you need a little satisfaction. Now, in that case, it was, like I said, it was good that nothing happened. We were in the middle of a restaurant that my wife and I really enjoyed. I didn't want to get banned from that restaurant or anything. And then, in addition to that, it's probably better to not beat up someone's son right in front of them or someone's big brother right in front of them. It's probably better to not do that to the young kids or the mom, even though it would have felt good. It was better that that didn't happen. But you know what? Because that didn't happen, I had to walk away from that and I had to shoulder that burden of, man, I wish I just fucking hit that kid, you know? Um, this is in comparison to some of the other situations that happened, like last weekend. I told that kid to shut the fuck up, and then I spat on his I spat on his steering wheel, right? Again, not the best way to handle that. Not the best thing that I could have done in that situation. But you know what? It felt good enough. That kid standing behind his fucking door trying to talk shit. Puh! Fuck you, kid. Walk off. Kid was too scared to do anything. Yeah, felt pretty good. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I'm not like angry about that situation, right? If anything, I'm concerned because it's like, what if that kid didn't learn his lesson? Then I might have to actually do something, whatever that happens to be. I'm not even saying I'm gonna beat the kid up or anything. It's just, I'd rather him learn the lesson and not talk to people like that and not speed down the street and drive at people's wives. I'd rather him not do that. But at the very least, I don't feel a need to like replay it over in my head and be like, I should have did this different. I should have did that different. I wish I fucking hit the kid. I wish I chased him down and kicked his door in and started beating the hell out of him in his own house. Like the anger is not there. Same thing with the fanatics thing, where it's like um two histrionic women and then their fucking simp manager, their white knight manager comes over and starts swearing at me. A dude that like there would have been nothing that guy could have done if I decided I wanted to get violent. The US Marshals around, yeah, take them a second to get there. You'd be amazed at what someone like me could do to you in the time it takes a US Marshal to run the 50 yards that the closest one was from where we were at, you know? But like, obviously, I couldn't do that. But I did make sure, hey, I got my pound of flesh. I got 2 free shirts and a refund. So technically 3 free shirts because we paid for 1 shirt and then they sent us 2 extra shirts. I don't feel as angry about that, you know? One of the features of the modern world, one of the features of the world that we live in right now is that, and this is why I don't like the cortisol meme. This is why I can't stand that cortisol meme shit. One of the features of the world that we live in today is that you're just supposed to like silently like accept abuse and like have a, well, what do you know about that kind of attitude and move on from it. But that's like that doesn't work. And the people who parrot that like low cortisol shit, they are people who want to be able to abuse you and get away with it, because the last thing you want to do is let the guy who's fucking with you know that it's pissing you off and that you want to do something about it. Yeah, that's totally the last thing you want to do, because then he'll be like, cortisol spike. You mad? Oh, oh, what? You mad? You duff a dude as hard as you can in the jaw. He spits blood and teeth out, and he looks up and he's like, "Ugh, cortisol spike." It's like, ah, yeah, yeah. You definitely won that one, buddy. You used the cortisol meme. I just fucking broke your jaw. I just beat the hell out of you. Oh, but yeah, I lost. I totally lost that one. Yeah, that's how that one works. That's totally how that one works. That's even before the cortisol thing, you had like Reddit types who would be like, and that's the thing, is it's always the most disrespectful people doing the most disrespectful things. Like you have these losers who they hang out on Reddit or they hang out in like liberal Facebook groups and stuff like that, and you post about like again, I was at the Freedom 250 thing. I'm trying to sell these cups, by the way. If anybody wants one of these, I'll sell them to you for cheap. You're just gonna have to pay for the shipping unless you can meet me somewhere to pick them up. All right, I'll give them to you for cheaper than I'm giving them to basically anybody else, right? But I have like I think like 17 or 18 of these things left. Shameless plug if you're interested. These are straight from the event as well. They're commemorative cups, but um they're the types of people who, like, if I was to, and I had this happen a couple of times. I post these up on Facebook Marketplace saying, hey, like, if you want them, I got tons of them. I'll sell them to you. And you get people who come into your inbox like, what are you, some kind of stupid fucking redneck white trash mayo monkey piece of shit? Dude, don't you know people don't like Donald Trump? Don't you know the UFC White House card was like a white trash? It was the UFC white trash card, is what it was. And then when you're like, fight me, bro, they're like, oh, whoa, can't hey, you can't settle things with your mind, you can't settle things with your words. What are you, like a big baby? Did baby poo poo his pants? Does baby want a bottle? Oh man, dude, you want to fight me because I'm being a piece of shit to you? Wow, I guess you're really that immature, aren't you? Here, do you need a binky? Like, they love to talk like that, and it's like, yeah, it's real easy to talk like that over the internet, but you know what, let me find you, let me fucking see you. Let me see you, you know? It's it's a symptom of the feminized world that we live in, and it's not just that the world has become feminized. It's there's other aspects of it, but that's really the root cause, is that we were told that like violence is never the answer and you solve things with your words and stuff like that. And then that gave rise to things like debate culture on the internet and everything like that, where I have to listen to someone who's like Vosh, some like fucking pedophile motherfucker like we think Vosh is. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me, right? I have to listen to somebody like that tell me I'm stupid or something like that, like just absolutely come at my throat, making fun of me. And then the second I'm like, yo, you want to fight about it? You're using fighting words, bro. It's, baby, want a bottle? It's like, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. What's going on? What's going on, Dave? Is that the Dave? Is that the Dave? The Dave from Bitch Tank. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well too. Hope everything's working out for you, man. It's been a long time. You know. That was too good of an impression. My face started getting warm. Oh yeah, yeah. Like, cause that's literally the way that they do it. They hit you with some like, hey, piece of shit, chud, asshole. You deserve to fucking die. Fuck you. And then when you're like, oh, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna fight you the next time I see you. It's, oh, what? You can't solve it with your words? Is that it? Well, I guess that means you're wrong. It's like, yeah, I'll be wrong as long as I get to beat the fuck out of you. How about that one? How about that one? You know? Oh shit, it is the Dave. Yo, dude, what's new? I hope everything's going. I already said it. I already said it, but it has been a little while. I hope everything's going well with you, man. For real, you know. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with a lot of people after Bitch Tank. Like there's some people I kept up with, other people that I didn't. Not that it was like some kind of personal thing or anything like that. It's just there were people who kind of remained a little bit more relevant to me versus other people who kind of scattered to the wind and we didn't talk as much. But like Fish Tank kind of became a little bit confusing and a little bit muddled after Bitch Tank happened. So, I don't know exactly everything that went down with you or like, how you're doing, but I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. I'm still living. Oh yeah, me too. Me too, man. Oh, excuse me. Left-leaning people have completely ruined the middle finger. They've made it the least cool thing you can possibly do. Oh yeah. Same thing with the word fuck. Like I have a bit of a sailor's mouth, and I don't know what I would contribute that to. Maybe or attribute that to. Maybe it's that like because the thing is, when I was a teenager, I kind of was a little bit Reddit myself. I never hung around on Reddit, but like I did like that epic bacon type bullshit. And because of that, I developed a bit of a potty mouth. And it'd probably be best for me to avoid that as much as I possibly could. But it is a little bit tough because I've been swearing my whole life. I've been swearing my whole life, and um, like because of that, now you trans fucking rights. Like you have people saying shit like that all the time. And it's like, yo, swears don't provide the shock value you think they do. It's not 1993 anymore. It's not 2004 anymore. People really don't care if you're gonna swear, and in fact, people are doing dumb shit like naming their bakeries with like profanity. Bitchin' bakery is what they're calling it, and it's like, ugh, ugh. It's like, fuck, man, that is gross. But yeah, it's like fake rebellion, fake tough guy stuff. It's like, hey, only tough guys say the F word. Only tough guys say the fuck word. That's right. That's right. I said it. I said fuck. That's right. You hear that? Fuck. And it's like, get away from me. Get away from me. You know? I firmly believe Eminem killed the middle finger. Oh yeah, I think so too. Eminem, like don't get me wrong, Eminem is extremely talented, but in hindsight, yeah, his music was like not that great. His talent alone is what made him great, but his music in and of itself is like not a huge fan. Not a huge fan. Oh, excuse me. Um and it's like it people talk like one of the things you see, and I want to talk about wiggers as well. I want to talk about wiggers because I said I was going to talk about those when I was telling the story about spitting on the wiggers steering wheel, right? But um people have been spreading this conspiracy theory, right? And when I say conspiracy theory, I don't mean to denigrate, but it really is a conspiracy theory. Like, we don't have any real proof of anything like this actually going down. But I mean, the way the timeline hit, I guess I could kind of see what you're talking about there, right? People said that Woodstock 99 scared the hell out of the elites. So they really went into overdrive trying to push hip hop onto specifically white kids, whether they're suburban or urban, as a means to take away their ability to feel any real rage, right? Because rock and roll is considered to be a white genre, right? And because of that, like white dudes making music for other white dudes that they can take part in guilt free. Because of that, it's a little bit easier for them to act a little rowdy and, to organize and all that other stuff. But with something like hip hop, that is considered to be a black genre. So if you're a white guy listening to hip hop, you can enjoy it. You can have a fun time. You can even try to identify with it in some way, shape, or form. But you are still a tourist. So because of that, any of that black rage, you're not really going to be able to identify with it on a level that's going to be actionable. So, because of that, according to this theory, when Woodstock 99 happened and they saw like a sea of white kids doing a bunch of crazy shit, destroying property, just like mayhem and stuff like that, excuse me, they decided that rock and roll really needed to go, and they started pushing rap into the mainstream. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true, but what I do know is probably true. What I absolutely positively believe in is that Eminem was astroturfed. He was an industry plant that was designed to try and get new metal white kids to be into hip hop music. There's so many people that I know of that were like they were listening to Corn and Deftones and System of a Down and even Limp Bizkit, right? And they were like, "Yeah, dude, rap's not really my thing." And then Eminem comes along, and Eminem took that horrorcore kind of thing that you could see from people in new metal sometimes, and he combined it with that angsty, like "my mom sucks" kind of attitude that a lot of these new metal kids had, and excuse me, and uh he made music that they could get along with. It wasn't like DMX, it wasn't like NWA or anything like that. There was almost like a cartoonish sort of don't take yourself too seriously vibe to it, which was the vibe of new metal back then. If you listen to if you listen to Eminem's first album, I think it came out in like 96 or 97, and I'm pretty sure it was called either Infinite or Eternal. I forget which. I always get confused I always get confused on it. But um, if you listen to these, if you listen to his first album, he sounds absolutely positively nothing like how he would sound when he met up with Dr. Dre, who was already a very well established industry figure by then. And when he would start producing, not producing, but making music under Dr. Dre's label, you know? Uh, I don't think that's a coincidence. Eminem just decides he's gonna magically become like completely different from what he used to be. Like, no, I don't think that's a coincidence, you know? And funny enough, if you pay attention to dudes in the underground rap scene in New York, you'll see dudes like Necro and like Cage, right? If you there's Look, listen to Down the Left Hand Path by Cage and tell me that does not sound exactly like a song Eminem would have created, right? And Cage created this song in like 97, 98, right? Movies for the Blind came out before the new millennium. Eminem, I think he had his first album as like what we would know him as today in I think 99 or something like that. Like it's pretty clear that Eminem was an industry plant that was ripped off from a couple of different people, and he was probably utilized as a means to get a new demographic of children into hip hop is what I would guess. This is all, of course, opinion and speculation and stuff like that. I don't have any proof of this. It's just there's a lot of interesting little things if you know that story. Music in general is textbook psychological operation, but the reason behind each genre uh, definitely varies wildly, for sure, 100%. Different target audience, um, different implied meaning or different goal to try and get you to be or act a certain way, Eminem definitely an op. I remember the time well. Exactly. Me, I was born in 94. I can remember first becoming aware of who Eminem was in like 2003, 2004. So I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and it was like just a weird thing where like a bunch of suburban white children, because that's what my hometown still was back at that time, was like a sleepy suburban, like mostly white people. All of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, dude, hip hop rules." I was like, interesting. That's weird. That's weird. Hmm. Um, Anything on the radio is a psyop, to be fair. Oh yeah, completely. The radio plays what they want you to hear. Peter K2J says rock and rap are probably both psyops. You said it first, and other people said it after you. I basically agree with that. Um, but yeah, I was talking about Wiggers. I'm a little bit confused here because one thing you're seeing out of popular culture now is that the black community is losing its grip on pop culture. I'm not saying that the only people to ever really like be able to move around and do their thing in pop culture were black people, right? But you used to have an iron grip. There was an iron grip that hip hop had on the charts for the better part of a decade and a half, I believe it was. And now I guess it's been like months of no hip hop songs topping the charts, topping the top, hitting the top 40, right? Not even just topping the charts. I'm talking about like there hasn't been a rap song in the top 40 in like months. At least 3, I would assume, maybe even closer to 6 or more. I can remember when I first heard because that was like big news that like, oh, this is the first week in however many years that there is no hip hop song in the top 40 and it's like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. Damn. Um Black culture is being seen as like uncool now. People are starting to turn on black culture. Its hegemony has come into question. It is not what it used to be. And because of that, you're seeing less and less zoomers who are like, yeah, well, yeah, I'm a wigger. Of course, they would never uh, classify themselves as that, obviously, but you know what I mean by that, right? There's just less and less of them who are comfortable trying to dress, act, and talk what they would consider to be black, right? So it was weird to me that there's this 16 or 17-year-old wigger kid who's driving like a maniac down the street, and I had to like read him the riot act. That was like weird. It's like, yo, didn't you get the memo, bro? Like black people aren't cool anymore. I guess that's I don't even make the rules, dude. It's like I said, you're just seeing a change. I think people are just sick of like ghetto shit in music. I think they're sick of movies where if there's a black protagonist, it has to be like a whitey evil movie. Everybody's clowning on Jordan Peele. I remember when Get Out hit. I remember I went and I watched that in the theater, packed theater, you know? And everybody said Jordan Peele was going to change the face of comedy. And they were like, whoa, dude, it's an allegory for white liberals. That's insane. White people are bad, right? You had like nothing but that. And now people are just like, nah, that shit's gay. Get it out of here. So it's like, they must really love the game. These 16 and 17-year-old zoomers who are wigger maxing, they must really really love the game if that's the way it is, because you're seeing less and less zoomers who are like, yeah, I want to be black. You're seeing far less of them than you used to. I remember about 5 years ago when I first got married to my wife, we're sitting there, we're watching TikToks on YouTube. Like we were eating some Chinese food and TikTok compilations ended up in the autoplay and we were just like, I don't know, I guess we'll just fucking watch this. And every other TikTok was like a wigger dude or a wigger chick talking about that shit bussin'. For real, for real. Respectfully, that shit bussin'. Like it was insane. And now you barely fucking see them, but when you do, it's like seeing it's not even an endangered species. It's like if a woolly mammoth went walking down your street, you'd be like, what is he doing here? Doesn't he know what year it is? It's like, holy fuck. You you hear that new YN Zeggy G live? Yeah, it's oof, you know. It's just getting more balkanized. YN still definitely listen to the only rap, but like rappers no white person has ever heard of. Oh yeah, and that's the thing is like whenever some YN drives by me, there's always a poorly produced rap song where some guy who be talking like this and shit, be talking like that. He be rap he be rapping on the track talking like this, and he be talking about suck my dick and sounding like a black leaned out boomhauer and shit like that. Fucking bitch and if it did shit like it's like the tackiest beat you've ever heard, and it's some dude from like Chicago that nobody other than maybe like 100,000 people listens to. You know, the type of person Brandon Buckingham would make a video about, where he's like, "This is one of the hottest young rappers out of San Antonio," and it's like young butt crack. You know, I'm here. Hey guys, I'm here, Southern California, with one of the hottest rappers in this region. He's on his way up right now. His name is Lil Dickhole. You know, and it's like, you've never heard of him, you're never gonna hear about him again. You know, and it's like what the fuck is going on? You know, mumble rap, exactly. You know. Hey, fuck that bitch. I'm Zoom cop and shit. Get my dick sucked. It's like, man, you know, like it's funny. It's such a boomer thing to make fun of mumble rap. That was the funniest thing, was when rappers got old, when that first crop of like mainstream rappers got old, and they started getting mad because mumble rappers and SoundCloud dudes were doing their thing, and they're like, hey, you guys are all pill heads. We used to deal pills. That's what we used to do. And it's like, I don't know which one of those is worse, guy. I don't know which one of those things is fucking worse, bro. I don't know why you're trying to act like that's some kind of like, you youngins don't know how to do it today. It's like, you fucking old, you old, you old fads. You know, you old fads don't know how to do it either. Like, what you're 40 something still talking about, "Yeah, you guys should be selling the pills though." It's like, shut the Unk meme is the best thing that they made up, because you know what, Unk, you gotta shut your fucking mouth, dude. It's about time you grow up, you know. What, you're gonna be 42 sitting in front of a microphone like, "Hey yo, I'll be selling pills. You fuck with me, you get killed. Hey, I'm from the A. I'm not gay. You gay. That's why I'ma kill you." Like that's what you're doing. You're 40 something, and that's how you spend your time. I don't care how much money you make doing it. It's like, yo, you should probably knock that shit off. You should probably cut that out. Get a different job. All right, fucking A. Get out of here. Legit wonder if the mumble rap species is a typical NGA, but they got them white boy prescriptions forced on them. Yeah, that's probably at least part of it, you know. Either that, or what it is the white people got prescriptions forced on them, because like that's the thing is, like, if you didn't get an Adderall prescription, what you did was you paid your friend who had Adderall to give you Addies. I was given Adderall for free by a friend of my brother's, right? And he was a friend of mine too, but like, he was just like, "Hey Scott, you want some Addies?" And I was like, "Oh, I've never tried them before." Sure. And I didn't. He gave me some, like, they were capsules, right? You were supposed to take one capsule. I took like four of them. I didn't know he gave me enough for multiple doses. So I'm sitting here, wired on meth. My legs and my arms are like fucking vibrating and shit like that. And I had the fastest work shift that I've ever had. It felt like I walked in and walked out, and I got so much stuff done. I got so much stuff done, right? But like, if you didn't get a prescription, you had to get them from somebody else, and that is probably what happened on some level, you know. They probably made a friend whose mom was like, "You have ADD, you got to take these pills," and the kid's like, "I don't like how these make me feel," so he sells them to somebody else, and that kid sells them to somebody else, and or starts doing them, you know. Because that's one thing you don't see a ton of in the black community. That's something they definitely have right, is, "Hey yo, I ain't giving my kid none of them fucking pills and shit. The fuck ADHD? Nah, that shit ain't real. You fucking shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up." Like, that's exactly the way you should respond when some asshole psychiatrist tries to be like, "I think you might have ADHD." The wigger should come out, and you should be like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch. Fuck you think this is?" Like, that's exactly how you should say it. That's exactly what you should say. You know? It's like, man, that is bonkers. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's part of why you saw like the SoundCloud dudes, you know, calling on James Drake's show. Oh, what's going on, Luca? These girls are boring. Where's James Drake's show? Is he on Kick or something like that? Is he on Kick? Kick.com. Is he on Kick? I'm curious because I will call in just to fuck with him a little bit if I can find a way to fuck with him. You see, James Drake is one of those dudes. Either like it's gonna be tough to fuck with James Drake because he does kind of know how to take certain things, and because of that, if I do or say the wrong thing, I'm gonna look like the fool. But I do want to mess with James Drake a little bit. He's I wouldn't say I hate him or anything like that. I do see through the nice guy type of shit that he does though all the time. You know. I can remember there was some kind of issue. I think it was with Betty. Betty crashed out, and I if I remember correctly, she did some pretty crazy shit. I hope she's doing better now. But James Drake has never spoken to Betty ever. He has no reason to speak to Betty. They just happen to be on the same reality show, 5 seasons and like 2.5 years apart. And he's like, "Oh, hey, Freddie, do you have Betty's number? I want to call her to make sure she's okay." It's like, all right, James. Okay, James. All right, James. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing here. I used to hit that move back when I was in the 8th grade too. You know, I'm like a freshman in high school. I got no game, and I'm like, hey, I saw Becky crying the other day. Is she okay? No, I've never spoken to her before. No, I mean, I have no reason to speak to her, but I don't like seeing girls cry like that. I just want to make sure she's okay. Do you have her like phone number or something like that so I can like text her to see if she's okay? Like, yeah, I used to hit that move too, James. All right, it's okay. Look, it's one thing when you're a freshman in high school. It's another thing when you're what, like 30, 31, something like that. You gotta, yeesh. Anyway, Diddy Foids. Oh boy. But yeah, I gotta I gotta know what James is it just James Drake? Um No, yeah, I don't know what James Drake's kick account is. Somebody's got to let me know what it is because I will call in. I will call in. Performative, yeah, not even performative. It's literally that he has ulterior motives. Like, yeah, I totally gave that much of a fuck about that girl that I'd never fucking spoken to before. She's just some girl who's in my graduating class. We haven't even had a class together, and I'm sitting here trying to be like, I'm just a nice guy who's trying to make sure she's okay because I'm such a nice guy. I don't like seeing girls cry. And I want to make sure she's all right. So could I have her number? I swear I'm not going to ask her to touch my penis. It's like, all right, all right, Jimmy boy. All right, Jamie. All right, Jamie. Yeah, I need you know what? Maybe I can find it on Shitter. Maybe that's where I can find it. Um, uh, Chael Sonnen's running for president. That's pretty sick. Drake. Um, hold on, maybe uh, Gypsy Boys. Gypsy Boys. Gypsy. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Man, I got to get back on Kick. I gotta get back on Kick so that I can what's it called? I gotta get back on Kick. I like my Kick account disconnected, and because of that, I haven't added it back. Oh, all right, here we go. Here we go.
Only got the one headset.
James, you've been
I thought it'd be
sniped,
funny if you guys like
and
want to
your
ask questions.
sister's hot.
She does TikTok and stuff, Braylon. She doesn't know what
James,
this is.
James, your sister looks like she's going through a rough time. Is she okay, bro? Is your sister okay, dude? She looks like she's been going through a rough time. Like, do do, do you think maybe I could have her number? I want to like just check in, make sure she's okay. Cause like I don't I just Look, I'm just like a nice guy, is what I am. I don't like seeing anybody, but especially women go through a rough time. I mean, look at that. She's clearly smiling through the pain, dude. I think she just needs a helping hand, someone to reach out. You know, I just want to try and help her. Is all. You know, I'm just trying to be a nice guy. That's it. So can I have her number, please? You want to give me my number? You want to give me her number, please?
I didn't like the sound of the mic, so I'll have to get that fixed for next
He
time.
got
But
he got that
just like take a few
Flame
minutes
Wolf
and
bowling shirt
say what's
stream
up.
UI. Oh yeah.
Bro, you can
There's content there. He's definitely got nice guy shit going on, but he's leaned well into the streaming world. Oh yeah, I'm sure. You know, he seems charismatic. You know, he seems charismatic, but the thing is, he has a bit of a hard time like hiding that he's acting a little bit, right? Like me, I really am a nice guy. I'm not like a mean bastard or anything like that. I try to be as like kind and as respectful to people as I possibly can. But I don't need to like put on a smile and be like, "Hey," I don't need to do that, you know? If I did that, that'd be really weird, you know?
That was the grossest thing I've ever seen in my chicken. So
Forerunner, a Tesla
Yeah.
Model Y, and Gravedigger.
that's fucking gross. Y'all actually like my brother? I feel like I'm the cooler one in my relationship.
Oh man.
James is older. We are a year and 10 days apart. So his birthday is January 17th. Mine is the 27th.
A year and 10 days apart, so their parents started fucking right away. My brother and I are 19 months apart. My parents like gave it some time in between, you know. His parents were like, "All right, you healed up. Let's get another one in there."
Does that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, nobody's giving me info on how to call in or anything like that.
He was not.
I don't think he's taking calls right now either. I don't think that helps,
They
you know.
said turn this down.
I don't know what's in Washington.
I muted it. This is Ice Tank. He said this is Ice Tank. Embarrassing childhood stories.
Yosemite is California.
The thing about James is he doesn't. I'm a size 7 or a size 5 in kids. He's not damaged any doors, but he was wrestling with my cousin in my room and put a huge hole in the wall and then tried to repair it, but he's not a good repairman. You know what?
No,
You can
shit.
YouTube it. It's fine.
I'm not even streaming on Kick right this second, but somebody followed me on Kick. Immersion_ruin. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
So I don't know. James the Destroyer. Yeah. How many bloomin' onions? Probably a lot. Well, that's not true. Probably just one.
Nah.
Did I just hear ex-husband? Who's that? Who's who? Oh, I'm the sister. Sister James' sister. From my mister. I don't know. I never said any woman, but can't make changes ways. What?
I'm just talking so much shit. I'm waiting
James
to.
should give you, James would be dead if he tried to give me a swirly. So.
I'll reach out to you.
I did like watching Fish Tank, except I have a big heart, so all of the like mean TTSs, it kind of hurt my heart a little bit.
Kind of hurt my heart a little bit.
But I did wanted to get in that boxing ring and fight everybody because that would have been fun.
Oh, he's got 200 people watching. Good for him. Good for
Who
him.
would I have fought? Well, I can't fight a boy, can I?
Oh, like what's been going on with this, by the way? Is that a new dude? I don't recognize him. You
All
know,
of them.
where the hell are the people on Ice
dude,
Tank
all
even
of
going? What's going on?
Which person did you dislike the most? Who did I not like?
Thoughts on James' epic victory challenge.
James, someone's
W.
talking.
James Drake.
What does that mean? Oh, okay. I don't know. I didn't dislike anyone. I thought Alex B.
I do kind of feel bad trying to call in just to get his sister.
Because did you have Vicky on here? Did I see her on here? They were so mean to her. They were so mean to her. I don't know. I didn't really like dislike anybody. No, that's not true. Me and my 6-year-old son didn't like Bashir, and my daughter. We didn't like him. We don't trust him.
We
I don't trust him at
we
all.
don't trust
I
him.
don't think he's who he says he is. But I'm sure he's a nice man.
Oh, Cavalog followed on Kick.
I don't know. I just didn't trust his stories. And then I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if
He's
if I can
I
if
don't
I
know.
can time it right to be able to do call-ins on his stream, I'll go ahead and I'll do that. But you know, like
Was that a
I don't know
lie?
what else to do. You know,
It
I
was
forgot
a
I have
lie. He
Kick.
did
Is
not
it
actually
just
have
me
no
or does
wife.
the site barely work? The Kick
Why
site?
do you
I don't know.
keep
I
saying
would
that?
guess the site is probably not that great. You know,
Can you hook
man.
Landon up with who?
All right. Well, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to call in. You know, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to call in. That's a little confusing. A little confused there, but hey, it is what it is. You know. Man. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything crazy. Yes. Um, sorry, just checking some shit. Yeah, Squid Vicious said he was gonna hit me up on Instagram, but he has yet to. Oh, here it is, literally 25 seconds ago. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I guess I should follow him back. Um. All right. 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 Sorry, that like trying to call into James Drake kind of derailed me. We were going in a direction with the conversation, and you know, it just kind of got derailed. You know, um, what was I gonna say? You know, not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just like I'm on here to just hang out and talk to you guys about whatever. You know, like I've moved past the point where I'm like I got to put in a ton of effort and I got to do something that's going to be engaging. It's like either you want to listen to me talk about whatever and you want to engage with me, or you don't. You know, um, you know, so it's you know whatever happens happens. You know, it's like I said, I don't know how much I'm gonna be doing this for. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be doing this for. So it's just like, hey, let's see what else I can squeeze out of it. Let's see what else I can do to have a good time with it and just you know just keep it going. If there's one thing I don't necessarily want to do, I don't feel comfortable doing this is like disappearing is being like all right guys, see you next time, and then there just is no next time. I know that's what a lot of people do, but I'm someone, I don't like leaving things unfinished. I don't like leaving things without saying goodbye. That's just something I've always been frustrated with whenever somebody does something like that. I want everything wrapped up nice and neat so that I can digest it and then move on with my life. And because of that, I feel like that's kind of what I would want to do. I will probably reach a point where I'm like, all right, I think it's about time for me to kind of move on from this whole thing. I had a good time. I made a little bit of money on it, nothing crazy, but you know, a little bit of money. Considering it's basically been a hobby. And you know, it's time for the next thing. Time for the next thing. So I'm gonna one last hurrah. One last hurrah just to say goodbye to everybody, you know, and then I will move on. I feel like that is probably coming up before the end of this year. I'd say it's probably coming up before the end of this year. And it might not be a goodbye. It might just be a see you later. But I am kind of like, well, you know, um, excuse me. I am kind of like, I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about what I'm going to be doing 6 months from now, a year from now, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I'm in a place where like I'm not old necessarily, but I'm also not that young anymore. If you're like 25, it's a lot easier for you to feel like you can keep doing like, whatever you're doing with YouTube or whatever creative project you have. But me, I got to figure out what the next step in my life is going to be because I need to think about what kind of father I'm going to be. Am I going to be the kind of father who like, sorry son, I can't play tonight. Daddy's got his stream. You know, it's like I have to be making money to justify that. James Drake is a Christian youth pastor. I believe it. I believe it. He's got that kind of hey guys sort of thing going on, you know. Uh yeah, James will probably do an interview with you. He usually sets them up like a few days to a week ahead. I'm reading these DMs out. I guess I might as well. I guess I might as well just read it out then in that case. My bad, Squid Vicious. You're probably not even watching this right now, but you know, I figure uh I just instinctively started reading the the DM out like it was a chat. Yeah, James will probably do an interview with you. Usually he sets them up like a few days to a week ahead of time. I'll let him know, send him your IG link, and he will follow and message you. He might do it tonight, depends what he has planned. Sometimes he does impromptu calls, like when Luca came on. Oh, okay. You see, I was just trying to call in to fuck with him, but I mean, if he wants to do like an interview, we could do that, and I won't be like an asshole about it. I was just like when I called in to Mizzy. Anyway, when I called into Mizzy, that was like an impromptu, like, hey, let's call in and have a little bit of fun there, you know. And look, I was winning her over. Okay, okay. You guys almost saw Skizzy. All right, you guys almost saw Skizzy come together in that moment. You know, we would have been together forever. We would have been carving our names inside of a heart on the side of a tree is what we would have been doing, you know. Um, but yeah, like that's kind of what I envisioned when Lucas said I should jump in and you know, try and call in and stuff like that. What was I gonna say? That's funny. We got Luca and Dave in the same chat. You know, different times tonight. That's pretty cool. Um, you know, one of my favorite Blood Games memories was with Luca because we, in the beginning of Blood Games, we were sent out to. I forget exactly what the context was, right? But we were trying to introduce. I mean, this is the context, but I forget exactly like what led up to this. But we were trying to introduce the fact that the vampires can use guns and other weapons from time to time. So I took one of the rifles, right? And I went out with Luca, and I had the earpiece in. Luca had an earpiece in, so we had radios. And what was supposed to happen was I was supposed to find sort of a sniper's nest, if you will. And I was supposed to wait for Luca to charge them as a distraction. And I remember finding a spot, and I hear Luca with his, I don't know what kind of British accent it is, but it sounds a lot like the type of accent an SAS guy would have. So I just hear him in the earpiece. I'm sitting here with the rifle, right? And Luca's like, okay, well, I'm moving in. That's not Luca's accent at all, but you get what I mean. Going in three, two, one, and then he sprints out. It felt like I was playing Modern Warfare. It felt so much like I was in Modern Warfare for like 30 seconds, and I was like, man, that was fucking great. I love the hell out of that. You know, one of my favorite memories from Blood Games specifically. And I don't think I've ever talked about that one in particular. You know, if possible, and if you wanted to, of course, one last hurrah is gonna happen. I'd love to see one last like multi-season fish tank contestant game show like you did. It was short, it was scuffed, it was art. Yeah, those were definitely good. Those were definitely really good. They were scuffed in the way that I wanted them to be. And if I could organize something like that, I would. I tried to do something like that last summer, or maybe it was last. I can remember because Seth got a little upset because he thought that I was trying to like hit on Angie or something like that. I remember that happening. Um, which I obviously I wasn't like no, you know. But um some really cool guy on his ricer riding down the street. Whoa, oh, such a cool dude. But yeah, I tried to organize one of those last summer or last fall with Aria and Angie, and there was one more person that I was gonna do it with, and it just didn't work out. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy. That's why I'm doing these like very low effort streams right now where I just hop on and talk about whatever, is because even to this day I don't have the time or the energy. I'm still really not in a good place, if I'm being honest with you guys. Slowly over the course of 5 or 6 years, I have been losing control of my life in a way that is not acceptable, right? Like, for instance, when you're a father, you don't have the time to eat right all the time, and you don't have the time to get to the gym. You don't have the time to take care of yourself. So, because of that, maybe you stress eat some carbs and you get up and you go to work every day because you have a family to take care of, damn it. And, your health comes second in that case, or third, or fourth, or last in that case. That's understandable, and that's why so many dads have dad bods and they're just not in the greatest shape, and their health is not always where it should be. That's why that is. It's the love of the father to sacrifice himself slowly over the course of years to make sure that his son or daughter, or sons and daughters and wife for that matter, are taken care of, right? And that is something that a lot of fathers get like made fun of for. A lot of the time it's kind of loving. It's like just teasing dad because you love him, and stuff like that. But like, you get a lot of depictions of men who are married and have kids and stuff like that in TV shows and movies where it's like he's a fat slob piece of shit is what he is. And it's like, why? Because he's out of shape, because he can't eat right, because that's too much stress on an already stressful life. Like, no, fuck that, get out of here. But me, like, there was really no excuse for me to be as big as I was over the last year. I got up to like 280, 290, and then I got on Zepbound for 6 months and I lost like 40 to 50 pounds, and I'm off the Zepbound now, but I'm still trying to lose weight. Um, like, that happened because I just lost control of my life. So much of my time and energy was going to people other than myself, and even my wife, that I was in that kind of mind state where I was like, get home from work, nah, I ain't doing healthy shit. Fuck that. I'm eating a whole pack of cookies if I want. Like, literally that type of shit. It's insane. Shit is fucking insane. And because of that, like, I just had no time for YouTube stuff is really what it is. I had no time for YouTube stuff. Um yeah, I remember the second one not coming together. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But what you gonna do? Itchy. We got about 20 minutes to go. Got about 20 minutes to go. What's going on, Blitz Comet? How you doing tonight, man? Oh, fuck. Get out of here. Sorry, just checking some stuff out real quick. Something to get a little political on you guys, if there's one thing I'm really annoyed with when it comes to Twitter, and again, this is my fault because I've said it before, if you don't want to see clowns, don't go to the circus. I'm the one going to the circus, but we're here to talk about stuff. If there's one thing I've been really annoyed with lately, it's the whole Ulster Scot thing, or Scots Irish or Scotch Irish thing. That really gets on my nerves, right? And the reason why is because it's all a political distinction. The Scottish and the Irish are the same. They're really not different in any way. There might be some slight genetic differences, but that's not because they are completely different people. It's because different groups invaded and conquered and intermingled at different rates over history. Like, for instance, you had Vikings that invaded Ireland and Scotland. And I would assume they happened around the same time, but I'm sure it wasn't like a simultaneous invasion that happened exactly the same, and resulted in the exact same kind of changes and stuff like that. But um, it's just stupid because the Scottish and the Irish are similar or the same, other than the fact that they live on two different islands, and there were different invaders at different times and different accepted political states at different times. The Scottish, and I'm not saying it's all of them, but a lot of the Scottish are a little more comfortable with the idea of being a part of England, or not England, but Britain. You know, they run a referendum every however many years, and like it might come close, but a lot of the time it doesn't come close enough for them to actually secede, is my understanding, right? um but you have this group of people who, because they were Protestants, they were like Anglican or Presbyterian or something like that. They try to draw a distinction between two people who are like 99% the same, but the difference being, again, politics and religion. And religion can often be political in these cases. I mean, that's what the Anglican Church was created due to those politicking type differences between the King of England and the Pope at the time. So you have a group of people who, particularly in America, right? Because here's the thing, I can understand why somebody who's a Protestant in Belfast, because they have a certain political identity there that's been built up for so long, I can get why they might differentiate themselves, but they are still Irish. They might call themselves Ulster Scots or something like that, but I mean, they're Irish, you know? But I find that to be a little bit more acceptable compared to what you have growing in the US now, where they're trying to say that the southern states are Scotch Irish, but they're not really Irish because they're really Scottish. Which, again, we've already established Scottish and Irish are basically the same thing in the first place, right? Um, and it's just really gay to listen to people say shit like that. I forget if I said yo already, Blitz Comet. What's going on, man? But what annoys me about it, right? I can feel myself starting to do a bad job explaining. So I'm just going to get right to what annoys me about it is I think it's cowardice from a lot of American dudes who maybe they have an ancestor who was founding stock in the nation, which I have one of those too, by the way, the Dame family, right? Like I have ancestry that dates back to the founding of certain communities in southeastern New Hampshire, as well as I almost said the American Indian War, the French and Indian War, excuse me, and then the Revolutionary War after that, right? But you have a lot of these guys who really identify with that founding stock member, even though half the time they're also mongrelized in the same way that I am, right? I'm like Irish, Italian, Swedish, French, Welsh, fucking everything. I'm white is what I am. I'm fucking white is what I am. But you have these guys who really identify with that founding stock family member, right? And they either one want to try and use that as some kind of like, that's right, I am a Native American, haha. It's like some kind of weird virtue signal flex, or what happens a lot of the other time is they're just afraid to say, I don't want brown people in my country. They're afraid to say something like that. And instead of just either keeping their mouths shut or having the balls to say, yeah, I don't want a bunch of Mexicans and Somalians coming here. I'd rather white South Africans and Europeans. Instead of them just saying that, they try to make it into a thing where they're like, well, actually, we were founded by English and Scots Irish people. And if you're not one of them, if you're not a Protestant of some kind, you are actually just as bad as the Somalians that are coming here. You changed the foundation of the country, and you brought it away from what it was originally supposed to be. Basically, they're trying to lump people like, say, my great great grandfather who fought and was wounded trying to preserve the Union in the I almost said revolution, in the Civil War, or like other forefathers that have been here even longer than my great great grandfather, basically trying to lump people like him in with like the Somalians and stuff like that. And it's like, no, that's not, it's not the same, dude. It's not the fucking same, you know? Um, I just don't like seeing the cowardice, and I don't like seeing the brother war type shit, which is what a lot of that is. It's just pointless brother war stuff, trying their best to force a situation where like I now have to defend myself as a Catholic or something like that, because that's what a lot of these Protestants, just like the Ortho Bros, that's what a lot of them are obsessed with, is just trying to fight. They just want to argue with people on the internet, you know? And it's pointless and fruitless. And like I said, I'm kind of the idiot for giving into that in the first place. But it's just stupid as hell to see people who have no understanding of history try to act like they have an understanding of history just because they're a Presbyterian. And they want to believe that like Presbyterians are the only people who ever did anything good in the world or something like that, you know? Um, the only reason the Irish and the Scottish are different to nowadays is because of the body of water that separates the two islands. And the reason why the Scottish are called that is because when Caesar or whoever it was that made headway into the island of Britain, when he ended up going up there, they built a wall eventually. I believe that, you know, that was Hadrian's wall, so it was Hadrian who built that wall. I know there were multiple attempts to take over the entirety of the island of the British Isles. I know there were multiple attempts. Excuse me. Um, when that wall got built, that was essentially the Romans saying, look, this is ours, that's yours. You do whatever you want with it. We're doing what we want here. And what would happen is these people who would become known as the Scots, they were called Scoti by the Romans. Excuse me. The Romans would call them Scoti, right? So obviously, that's where it comes from. A couple thousand years later, and now we have Scotland and we have Ireland, right? Ireland comes from Erin, which is, you know, the goddess of the island. I'm not too familiar with like Irish mythology and stuff like that. That's not my wheelhouse, but I do know that Ireland comes from Erin, right? And that's what they used to call the island, or at the very least, if that's not what they called the island, that was a goddess, you know, Erin, right? And that's where the harp comes from. It's Erin's heart, harp, harp is what that is, you know. It's just it's annoying. It's annoying, you know, and it's one of those things that that bothers me a little bit. You know, the Picts. I don't know. Like here's the thing, right? Let's look into the Picts a little bit, right? Because um so the Picts were a group of peoples in what is now Scotland, north of the Firth of the Forth. What is that? The Firth of the Forth is a bay in Scotland and inlet of the Northern Sea. Okay, so in the early Middle Ages, when were the early Middle Ages? So Scotland was divided into a series of kingdoms in the early Middle Ages, i.e., between the end of Roman authority in southern and central Britain from around 400 AD and the rise of the kingdom of Alba in 900 AD. So it's like, yeah, like if you go back even earlier than that, the Picts were just Celts. That's it. That's what they were, you know. So that is one thing that it's like I've heard Scottish people talk about the Picts and stuff like that, or I've heard people when referring to the Scots they talk about the Picts, and it's like, well, I mean, apparently they only really existed around 400 AD in the first place. There was a lot of history that we know of before that, which included the Celts sailing from Iberia, excuse me, modern day Spain and Portugal is where they came from originally, and they hopped in boats and they went up to the British Isles. They made that their home. They did conquering there. They conquered it. There were original inhabitants of the British Isles at that point, you know. But then eventually, when Rome started fucking up a lot of the Celtic tribes, they found the British Isles and they went there and they conquered as much of that as they possibly could. And they eventually said, all right, I think we've had enough. We're going to let them have that for a couple of different reasons. And that's where these Celtic tribes ended up in Ireland as well as Scotland. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that where the Celts were able to actually hold ground, that is where Ireland and Scotland are, you know? And then, like I said, you had different groups of people intermingling with those groups of Celts at different times in history, you know? A lot of people don't realize it, but the culture between Ireland and Scotland are a lot more close than you even would originally like think, you know? Like for instance, the Irish do tartans as well. The thing people don't understand about tartans is that it's not about like your clan. You don't have like a clan tartan, at least not in Ireland. When you have a tartan in Ireland, it's more about what region you come from. You know, like for instance, I'll show you the one that people typically think of as the O'Sullivan tartan, but it's not actually the O'Sullivan tartan, it's the Munster tartan. It's for Munster. Oh. Um like this right here, right? If you look up O'Sullivan tartan, this is what comes up, but it's not legitimately for the Sullivan clan. It's for that area of Munster is really what it is. So you could be of a different clan as long as you're from that area, you're gonna use this tartan. That's the way it's gonna work. I actually do kind of like blue is like I don't know how I feel about it. The blue and the green on one hand, I do kind of like it. On the other hand, I'm kind of like, I think I should get it. I think I should grab it. You know, even though it's not like I said specifically O'Sullivan, it is pretty cool. I do like it. You know, but like catalog, like am I right or wrong about the stuff that I'm talking about? Even if like there's aspects of it that I just don't get, or if there's things that I'm overlooking, like do I have at least a little bit of a point, or do I, am I completely off kilter? Right? If I am, let me know because it is what it is. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Nothing to do about that. But it's just that's something that bothers me about like a lot of the online discourse from losers on the internet who like they want to pretend like their group of people are the only ones that ever did anything good. you know um it's just insane. Maybe the Welsh are a remnant of the original people of England. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know that much about the situation with England. I don't even know like that much about the like specific history. It's like I know more about the history of Ireland than I do Scotland, Wales, and England. I couldn't tell you like who invaded when. I know that it was Rome at one point. Then when Rome fell, eventually you had like Saxons come in, and that's where you get Anglo-Saxon from. And then you also had the Norman invasion as well, which I know the Norman invasion put French royalty on the throne for a period of time, or maybe to this point. I don't even know. I don't even know. But for a while the English royalty was speaking French, you know. Um, but yeah, like I do know that the Scottish were Celts, and eventually over time they developed an identity that was not 1,000,000% independent of Ireland, but it was just enough that it's like seeing a carbon copy of yourself, but instead of me, like if I saw a carbon copy of myself with brown hair instead of red hair, I'd be like, whoa, you look like me, but you're not, you know? That's how I describe Scotland and Ireland. And a lot of people who have too much time on their hands, they try to make it into more than it is. If you're Scots Irish, you're Irish. Why would we call you that if we're not? If that's not the case, Or some people calling them Ulster Scots. It's like, okay, you're just saying they're Celts that live in Ulster, essentially. A lot of people don't realize too, but like one of the ethnic groups that folded into Irish society was the Scottish in the first place. Which again, like they're the same ethnic group, but if you wanna make the political divide like a real thing, like you had the Gallo glass which was a sort of warrior elite. They were mercenaries from Scotland that were hired by different clans to do some of the fighting for them. Like the O'Sullivan clan tended to try and hire Keiths for some reason. They had inroads with the Keith clan in what's it called, Scotland, and because of that, like the Keiths and the O'Sullivans, like they kind of share some DNA in that way, you know. um like those with a gallo glass that we rented out, that we paid, you know. um so it's like it's just stupid, you know. People want to take, topics that are a lot older than a couple hundred years and try to condense them down to a couple hundred years in a political manner. And it's one thing to just do that to do it, but it's another thing to do it because you're too afraid to say, "Hey, Somalians, get out of my country," you know. And that's my big problem with it. Um, They say the Romans disappeared into England as Rome fell. Ah, interesting. Scots Irish were Protestant Irish that fled to Western Scotland for only about 80 years. Then they came to the New World. Interesting. You see, I never knew anything about that myself. Um, what was I going to say? And that's another thing about it too, right? Is that when it comes down to it, you can talk about political or religious differences, but it all doesn't really matter when you're talking about genetics. You know, I could have been born in Brazil to the same parents that I have now. It doesn't mean that I'm actually Brazilian. You know, politically or not politically, but you know, like the piece of paper that has my birth nation on it is going to say Brazil, but I'm not Brazilian. If my parents flew down to Brazil, had me, and then flew back up, and I'd never visited Brazil, or like I don't live in Brazil full time or something like that, I'm not Brazilian. That's just the way it is, you know? And you have situations where people who are Catholics, specifically Irish Catholics, they came over here on a boat only to discover, oh, not only are there no Catholic churches around, but the Puritans in Massachusetts will literally kill me if they figure out I'm a Catholic. I guess I have no choice but to go to their Presbyterian church on Sunday. I guess that is what it is. And that's what happened with the General O'Sullivan in Washington's army. I forget what his first name was, but General O'Sullivan. Let's see here. Or maybe it wasn't O'Sullivan. Maybe it was just okay, yeah. I think it's General John Sullivan. Yep. So we have here, right? Major General John Sullivan from 1740 to 1795 was a Continental Army officer, politician, and judge who served in the American Revolutionary War and participated in several key events of the conflict, most notably George Washington's crossing of the Delaware. He was also a delegate of the Continental Congress, where Sullivan signed the Continental Association. After the war, he served as the third governor of New Hampshire and was appointed as a United States District Judge of the District Court of the District for the District of New Hampshire. Excuse me. So this is a dude. His last name's Sullivan. That doesn't exactly tell you he's an Anglo or anything like that. Let's see here, right? Born in Somersworth, the province of New Hampshire, British America, Sullivan was the third son of Irish settlers from the Barra Peninsula. So they were O'Sullivan Barras, is what they were, in County Cork, Ireland. His father was a schoolmaster. One of his brothers, James Sullivan, became governor of Massachusetts. We have Sullivans from the Barra Peninsula who are becoming governors of these states and stuff like that. Another brother, Benjamin, served in the Royal Navy and died before the American Revolution. A landing party from the HMS Allegiance captured another brother, Captain David Sullivan, on February 14th, 1781, with David later dying of disease. I'm trying to, you see, the father, John Owen Sullivan, and again, this is the Irish spelling of the name Owen right here. Um, John Owen O'Sullivan was the son of Philip O'Sullivan of Barra of Ardea. Tuosist? Tuosist? Jeez. Minor gentry in penal Ireland. Ooh, I'm going to have to look into this. I'm gonna have to look into this because I've never heard of penal Ireland before. And a scion of the O'Sullivan Barra clan, Andrea Castle Ardy Castle line. I would assume it's Ardy Castle line. I would guess. I'm not really good with the pronunciations yet, right? I'm looking for when it's going to talk about him converting, right? The penal laws reduced them as Catholics to the legal status of peasants, although they retained their wealth and social standing. After emigrating to York area the province of Massachusetts Bay that would eventually become the state of Maine. In 1723, the elder John became a Protestant because, again, uh, Massachusetts Bay Colony, there were not a bunch of Catholic churches around. I don't think this guy who was, again, he was reduced to the legal status of peasants. Even though they retained their wealth and social standing, they were still of the legal status of peasants. I don't think they would have waited to move all the way across the ocean to be like, okay, now we're gonna convert. I think if it bothered them that much, they would have converted before. But what I have a feeling happened was they went to the New World and they were like, so where's the Catholic Church? Oh, it's nowhere to be found. There is none. And you guys are going to fucking hate me and treat me like dog shit. And I'm not going to be able to set my life up here. All right. I guess I have no choice but to become a Protestant. I guess that just is what it is. Can't do anything about it. Oh well. When's church? That's most likely what happened, you know. So you have this guy here, right? And the point that I'm trying to make with this, I'm not just trying to read his early life to see whether or not he wears small hats or anything like that. um the point that I'm making with this is like you can sit there and talk about, well, I mean, the Scotch Irish are Presbyterians and Protestants. It's like, yeah, so was John Sullivan, general of George Washington's army. Washington's top general, by the way. Washington's most trusted general and advisor, by the way. And then the third governor of New Hampshire, whose brother was also the governor of Massachusetts at one point. You know, it's like I don't like get out of here. You know, that kind of went to poo. Here we are. Oh, America was made by Protestants for Protestants. I mean, yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. The thing is, America was made largely by Protestants, and they wanted to ensure that they would have the religious freedom to practice Christianity in whatever way they felt was fit, right? A lot of people don't realize, but the Puritans actually had beef with the Church of England because they felt that it was still too Catholic, and that's why they came over here. We call them the Pilgrims, the Puritans. They hit Plymouth Rock and they set up shop and everything like that. That's why they left, is because they were like, we think the Church of England is too Catholic. We want to do our own thing, right? But just because they landed first, that doesn't mean that they were the only ones around. Again, you had the Scotch Irish in the South, you had Catholics, you had Protestants, you had a bunch of different groups of people, ethnic and religious. A lot of people don't realize it, but Maryland was set up by Lord Baltimore, one of the Lord Baltimores, one of the Lords Baltimore. There was like three of them or something like that, but it was set up by an Irish count, essentially, to be a Catholic holding in the New World. Maryland is a Catholic colony, or it was a Catholic colony, and that's where we get Baltimore, Maryland from, you know? It wasn't just by Protestants for Protestants. Protestants made up the bulk because a lot of these Protestants were rebelling against the English church. So the English church was like, fucking whatever, get out of here. Go to the New World. Send us back some taxes every now and again. Just get out of our hair, bro. But there were also a lot of other people who came as well. If you were to look at the founding stock of the nation, it would be Irish. I almost said Irish Italian because I'm so used to saying I'm Irish and Italian, but it would be Irish, English. Um, not I don't think so much French, right? But it would be like Irish, English, Dutch. It would be Scottish. There's like five or six founding stock ethnicities that took part in the American Revolution that are like worthwhile to mention, you know? And we actually tried to get the French on board as best we could, but what happened was because the Puritans, because the Protestants were such dickheads, when we approached the Quebecois in Arcadia, and we were like, hey, we want to rebel against the British Crown. We know you guys are definitely not fans of the British Crown. Do you want to help us out? The Quebecois said no. They were like, no, the British suck. We don't like them, but you know what? They treat us a lot better than we think you're going to treat us. So I think we're going to stick with the British on this one. We could have had Quebec. We could have had Nova Scotia as well, depending on how the demographics of Nova Scotia were at that point. We could have had what was at that time essentially New France, even though it had been taken over by the whatever it's called, the English during the French and Indian War. We could have had that as a part of the continental United States. Canada would have started right after Quebec, and just think of the ramifications of that. Think how crazy that would be, you know. But like because the Protestants were such assholes to everybody who was not their specific kind of Protestant, and that's the crazy thing, is that it's that specific kind of Protestant. Like if you were a Quaker in Pennsylvania and you made your way up to the Massachusetts colony, and the Puritans got wind that you're spreading that Quaker Oats bullshit around Boston, they would have cut your tongue out, tar and feathered you, and they would have sent you back on your way to Pennsylvania with a note stamped on your head that says, "Stay down there, scum." Is what they would have did. The note thing is a joke, but like they literally were known for cutting the tongues of Quakers out. That's something that they did. It's like it's a lot more complicated than a lot of people realize. It's a lot more there's a lot more moving parts to it than a lot of people realize, you know. Um the real Baltimore is here in Ireland. Yeah, like there was a lord of Baltimore, and he set up the Maryland colony. Um There was a bloody forced conversion of Protestants to Catholicism in England. That was the religious persecution they fled. Is that true? I'm gonna have to look into that because that sounds interesting. You know, I am curious about that. Um, Bloody Mary, the founders were Protestant. Um, They made that very clear. It was the basis for the idea of separation of church and state. There were two Catholics that signed the Declaration of 1776, 54 Protestants, zero Jews, zero Orthodox. I mean, the Jews set up the banking system, so they had their thing going on. They had their thing going on. It was Tehir. Oh, their country. Quakers were the original hippies. Quakers were hippie as fuck. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about Quakers and stuff like that, but even then, it's like, look, like, am I saying that the country was not majority Protestant? Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But to say that it was like Protestants were the only people that mattered, and that's kind of the issue that I take, where it's like I don't know of any Catholic that feels a need to throw stones at Protestants about like what happens in this nation. I might not like how some of the Presbyterian churches have the like women pastors with like the rainbow bullshit. Everybody knows that's bullshit, but I don't have to throw stones at like other Protestants over it and stuff like that. I might have my own views and my own opinions about Protestantism, but I don't need to start brother wars over it. But you see a lot of Protestants who want to start brother wars over that, and they want to act like instead of 56 people who signed it, it was only 54, and the Catholics weren't even there for it, so fuck them. They didn't fight, except the Catholics did fight, and there were a couple of them. But it was only two, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't actually matter. It's goalpost moving. It's goalpost moving is what it is, and that's what I don't like about it. It's like when I say you, I don't mean you specifically, Ash Willify, but like you want to start a fight over some stupid bullshit. You want to start a fight behind some bullshit, And I'm supposed to then turn around and be like, well, I mean, I love America and I don't want white people to die out. So I guess I just have to go along with what this Protestant is saying and pretend like Catholics never did shit for the nation. I have to pretend like the country being founded by a bunch of Protestants who then later on accepted Catholics into the nation. I have to pretend like that means I don't deserve anything and I suck and I'm just as bad as some dude named Prandeep Somalia from India. His name's Prandeep Somalia, but he's from India. You know, it's like no, 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 no. It's a lot more muddy. It's a lot different than a lot of people make it out to be. Yes, like it was majority Protestant, but it was not only Protestant, you know. And that separation of church and state, that freedom of everything, right? It was specifically to practice Christianity. They didn't ever think a Hindu would be setting foot in the new world. Why would they even think of something like that at that time, you know? If it wasn't for us letting them in here, we wouldn't have Hindus in this country in the first place. You know, we're the ones that gave them the technology to be able to get here anyway, you know. They probably didn't think some Hindu motherfucker was gonna come and settle here and then take all the tech jobs. So to say that it's like, oh, it was not a Catholic country, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess I concede that to you. It was not a Catholic country. It was set up by Protestants and largely was a Protestant nation, but again, to use that to turn around and be like Catholics didn't do shit, they're not founding stock, and they need to shut up. It's like no, 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 no. You know, it was to keep the government out of the church. Yeah, Quakers were hippie as fuck. How could the Jews sign when they were busy managing the money? Exactly, exactly. You know, um, oh man, I do got to get out of here in a second. But and that's kind of what I'm saying is like it was to keep the government out of the church. It's like, okay, cool, that's fine. But again, like that separation of church and state is like regardless of whoever it was set up by, talking about the state, to use that to be like, oh well, fucking that means it's a Protestant country. It's like I mean, is it? It's again, I'm not trying to like avoid reality here. Like, yes, I do know that it was majority Protestant. I do know that most of the colonies were set up to be some form of Protestant. I do know that the majority of the founders were some kind of Protestant sect or whatever, right? I'm not denying reality here. That is the reality. But uh, the issue I have, to say it again in probably what is a better way, is that using those facts as a means to try and derive some kind of post hoc political power against groups of people that have been here since the 1800s, sometimes even earlier, who have bled and sweated for the country, who have helped to make the country what it would become in that golden age of like 1950 to 1970. To say that is like, to do that is like, that's unacceptable to me, you know. Irish Catholics, Italian Catholics, Polish Catholics, German, whatever the Germans are, I don't think they're quite Catholic. I think they tend to be Protestant, but like they're not the right kind of Protestant. Either that or they just are Catholic. I don't exactly know, but like these are groups of people who their ancestors run deep, their ancestry runs deep. Like I said, they bled for the nation, they helped to build the nation and all this other stuff. And they gave more than they took. And they are not the same as some Somalian who comes here and games the system and runs a fake daycare center. And that is what a lot of these dudes on Twitter are kind of trying to get at a lot of the time, is like, we're a Protestant nation. Even the Catholics are they came in and they changed the nation largely through criminality, mind you. They took power through criminality is what they did. And it's like, you fucking idiots, dude, you know. Um man. You see, Ash Willify, I got to be honest with you. I feel like I'm understanding what you're saying, but you're not understanding what I'm trying to get at. When I'm explaining to you, yes, like I'm not 100% disagreeing with what you're saying, but to use that to stipulate that actually Irish and Italian Catholics are the bad guys too. It's like no, 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 no. And that's my big problem. It's the logical conclusion of the argument that's being made. We cannot be autistic about it for 2 seconds and understand that like not everything is just what it sounds like and just what somebody like saying that is not just listing off the fact. There's also an implication there, the way that these people say it on Twitter and other things like that. Germans were Lutheran and Catholic. Yeah. Lutheran makes sense because Martin Luther. That does make sense. The good ones were Catholic anyway. The good ones were Catholic. They're lucky we weren't the bad guys. Truthfully, yeah, like the Protestants and the founding stock Catholics that were here are very lucky the Irish and Italians were not really the bad guys in the way that the Somalians are now, because the nation would have collapsed. The nation would have collapsed, you know? And that is insane, you know? I don't think Catholics are the bad guys. I do see they're about 40% Mexicans. That is troubling. Well, I mean, the thing about Mexicans is like they're weird. Like they're cat it's like quite literally, it's like if I told you guys I was a Catholic, but that I was following the teachings of the Buddha. Like that's essentially what the Mexicans are a lot of the time. Except instead of the Buddha, it's like literally like Santa Muerte. Oh, I have a pentagram tattooed on my chest. I pray to Santa Muerte every night. I'm a demon. Oh, I love Jesus though. Hey, man, I love Jesus, man, but I also like Santa Madre. Santa Madre, what the fuck? Santa Muerte, man. She gives me everything I need, man, including all that narco money, man. Is really good, man. I love Satan, man. He gives me power, man. Lets me beat the hell out of my girlfriend, man. But Jesus, man, Jesus, I love Jesus, man. Like that's what a lot of Mexican Catholics are. It's pretty insane. It's pretty. Those guys ain't doing it right. I'll say that much. They really are not doing it the right way. You know, Mexicans are the white as blacks. They're like religious goths. Yeah, man. English speaking white folk didn't celebrate Christmas until the 1800s, and you're welcome for that one. You're welcome for that one. You're welcome for that one, Ash Willify. Hey, you got to give us credit for that one. And Halloween. Come on. How about some credit where it's due? Okay. All right. Okay. South of the border, Catholics have some weird hybrid religion. They kept their old religion, but do it in Catholic churches. Yeah, literally, that's it. That's what they do. And it's like, whoa. Um, Somebody said something earlier. Oh yeah, real quick, I put up 2 clips from the movie Citizen Vigilante. They're doing numbers, huge interest in that movie. It's a typical low quality Uwe Ball is his name. Uwe Ball movie, but it's shifted the discussion. Oh, 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 oh. Should check it out for next stream if you get the time. Going to be interesting to see the full conversation following it. Oh yeah, for sure. And I saw some of those clips, and yeah, UA Ball did a service. UA Ball did a big service, as well as Obsession. I think Obsession did a big service because they are pieces of media that are not inherently left wing. I'm not even saying that Obsession is right wing necessarily. It's just not inherently left wing. There's a lot of things that you can see from there where it's like, the woman is being shitty, and she's being like irredeemably shitty, not just after she got taken over by the whatever it is, um but like even before that you kind of hear about some things and the way that she is and all that stuff. um but then with UA Ball's movie, it's like, wow, that is explicit. That is like explicit. and that is a very good thing. You know, we need media like that out in the world. We need media that shows like, yeah, no, it's okay to be right wing, you know? I mean, not that I'm saying it's cool to be like shooting motherfuckers and stuff like that, but like that is the type of stuff that it's like it's cathartic to people of a right wing view, and it gives us more breathing room to be able to speak in public. Obviously, that's not what any of us are trying to advocate for. We don't want to see the death of people. However, we can do exactly what the left wing does. We can say, look, it's art and it's an expression. It's not that people actually want to kill illegals or Muslims or anything like that. It's that that's how it makes them feel when they figure out that there's rape gangs that don't get prosecuted because people are afraid of being called racist. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's not actually violent. It's not actual violence. It's just an expression of the frustration and the anger of a marginalized community. We can do that too, you know? And a movie like that shows that one, movies like that can be made and they will blow up. And then two, also you can get that shit. You know, you can get that shit. Um their channel, I follow, you know, the guys that made Obsession. I've followed them for years on YouTube, just two nuts making sketch comedy stuff. Then they dropped a theatrical release. Their channel is That's a Bad Idea. I'll have to check that out. I do got to get out of here, like in a second or two. I gotta shave my neck. That's what I gotta do. I gotta shave my neck. Um, yeah, that sounds pretty cool though. Curry and Cooper, I think, are their names. Yeah. You know, I'm sure those guys are probably not like crazy. You know, I'm sure they're probably not like crazy leftists, even if they're not like based red pill giga chads. They're probably not like straight up leftists either. They probably just wanted to make some good movies. Probably what happened, you know? And good movies mirror real life on some level. And there's a lot of young men who have been in that situation before where they're in the friend zone and they're trying to get out of it. And there are also a lot of young men who have dealt with histrionic women who have been like all over the fucking place, you know? Excuse me. There's also young women who have dealt with the sensitive young man who's like, I love you so much, but I'm so afraid to tell you, but I'm gonna be a fucking weirdo about stuff. I'm gonna be, oh my god, you know. They're goofballs. I get the feeling they are not woke. Yeah, and I mean that's enough right now, you know? Like we're in a place where I will take not woke. You don't have to agree with me on every little fucking thing. Like that's the thing with Shane Gillis is like people are like the way the left transvestigates people. You have right wingers who like purity investigate different comedians and stuff like that, like Shane Gillis. Like you got Nick Fuentes talking like Shane Gillis is funny and he seems like a good dude. He's probably a liberal though, and it's like who gives a fuck? As long as he's not some like shitty left winger, I'll take him. That's fine by me. You know, I mean, he's friends with Sam. You know, he doesn't have bad things to say about Nick Fuentes either. Like, that's good enough for me. I don't need him walking up on stage and tanking his career by yelling the N-word or anything like that, you know? And that's with the whole UFC White House thing. I had no clue he was there. I saw this giant structure that was there on the middle of the ellipse. That was the VIP section. So you had Shane Gillis just chilling in there along with a bunch of other celebrities and stuff like that. That was news to me. Um but yeah, like the TMZ person is like, "Hey Shane, what did you think about Josh Hokett saying Michelle Obama's a man?" And he was like, "Oh, I didn't like that." And then like they expect him to say more, and he's like, "You caught me on a couple of brewskis here." But yeah, I didn't really like it, and he just moved on. And it's like that was so clearly like a, "Hey, fuck off and leave me alone. Fine, I'll give you a little bit of what you want. I didn't like it. Is that what you wanted to hear? All right, get out of here. Get out of here. Go. I gave you an answer. It was an answer that I think you wanted. Stop bothering me, man. Now that you got what you want." It was clearly that kind of answer. You know, he just wanted to be left alone and not asked about political shit right in that moment. And he gave an answer that was basically like a fucking palm to the face, like, get out of here. And people on Twitter are like, "Dude, I'm fucking sick of Shane Gillis, dude. He fucking sucks, dude. Dude, he's always been a fucking like left wing like asshole, dude." It's like, no, no, clearly he's not. Clearly he just wanted to be left alone, guys. All right, let's not make every little thing into like a sink or swim situation, you know. Um, I'm gonna get out of here at the 2.5 hour mark. I got a little over 2 minutes until then. All the political tests I take say I'm economical left, but the left disagrees. So I guess I'm a right wing boogeyman. Yeah, and that's the thing. Political tests are a lot like IQ tests, where like I mean, they can be an all right tool to judge whether or not you're intelligent, or in this case, whether you're left wing, right wing, authoritarian, libertarian, etc., etc. They can be a good way to judge those things, but also who made the test, why, and how. You know, like I do better with questions of logic. If you throw patterns in front of me and tell me to solve as many of them as possible, I get to a point where I'm bored and I'm annoyed, and I want something that is a little bit more tangible, or not tangible, but a little bit more useful, I guess you could say. You know, like recognizing patterns is useful, don't get me wrong, but like pattern recognition is only going to help you to a certain degree. You have to learn how to move through the world. You have to learn how to do stuff, you know? And I'm a very logical and strategic thinker, right? Like, for instance, this place that I told you I'm thinking of buying, the landlord doesn't really want to sell it. But the thing is, we're in a place where we might be able to convince him to either A, sell it to us if we play the right game, or B, if we can try and convince him to do kind of a rent to own situation where it's like we give him the same rent every month for like 30 years or something like that, and it's ours, or like basically until he passes away and then it's ours. Like if we can do something like that, we're going to do that. But um, I'm right now trying to figure out how I'm going to get this guy to sell me the house. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm going to try and pit him and his dad against each other, because his dad wants to sell the house. He, the landlord, doesn't want to sell the house. This landlord of ours doesn't have kids, doesn't have any family. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear the fucking the the fucking the spin out, the screeching tires? Did you guys hear that? One of the things I'm trying to do though, right, is I'm trying to pit the guy's dad against him, in that his dad will be like, "Son, let's sell the house. These are some nice kids. They want to have kids. They need a house to be able to have kids. You don't have kids. We don't have anybody that we're going to give this house to. Let's do these people a favor. Let's do these people a favor and make a little bit of money on top of it too." And if we can do that, then yeah, we're probably going to be able to buy the house, because in that case, like, it'll work out. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that right now. Like, you need a certain kind of IQ to be able to do that kind of thing, to be able to plan ahead. But if you have the IQ that's good for just like pattern recognition in that way, there's no guarantee that you're also going to be a strategic thinker on top of that. You're just good at being able to say, oh, so this square is like that, that square is rotated 90 degrees, that square is rotated 90 degrees, so the next square is also going to be rotated 90 degrees. So this is the one, you know? That's the sound of a warm Irish night. Yeah, that's the sound of affordable housing, brother. Oh yeah, you guys heard it. You guys fucking heard it too. You know, political tests are for Facebook moms. Let's not beat around the bush. Oh yeah, for sure. You know, it's a way to be like, this is me. You know, it's like personality tests. Um, Before I forget, I'll inquire for sure about one or two of those 250 event cups. Such an interesting bit of memorabilia straight from there. Oh yeah, I mean, you know, like we'll have to figure out about shipping costs to Ireland, you know. But like if you're interested in them, you know, I'll give them to you for like a lot cheap. I'll give them to you for cost is what I'll do, because like I'm sure the shipping to Ireland is probably going to be like ridiculous, you know. In some way, shape, or form. Even though there's only like, even though these are not heavy or anything like that, I'm sure it'll probably be a little bit ridiculous. But yeah, if we can figure out how to get any of these to Ireland, you just let me know how many you want, you know, and we can do something with PayPal or whatever catalog, you know. Man. But yeah, it's intelligence. Intelligence is one of those things that gets annoying for me as well. You know, I did a bad job of explaining that. Right. I usually do a bad job of explaining intelligence because there's never a good time to talk about IQ and intelligence for me and stuff like that. It's one of those things that I bring up randomly because I've been thinking about it. I don't actually plan on talking about it a ton. But yeah, like political compass tests, IQ tests, you know, a lot of those things. It's like they're just I don't trust them. You know, I mean, a political compass test is whatever, who cares? But an IQ test specifically, you know, there's always some kind of bias in there. There's always some kind of like weird bullshit in there. And people are just like people are just weird about it. IQ is the best we have to tell the aptitude of somebody without them actually having to do whatever you want them to do. Um, you know, but it's still it's not perfect. It's not perfect, you know. But anyway, uh I do think it's about time I get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. This is a much better stream than we've had. Much better stream than we've had. I apologize again for the issues with my microphone. It seems like everything turned out okay later on, though. I think what like I hate to say it, but I almost feel like maybe there's the issue is with like maybe the issue is with there's no way. I was gonna say maybe it needed time to kind of unfuck itself after the new cable was put in, but I don't think that's what it is. I'll have to get a new XLR cable is what I'm gonna have to do. But anyway, in an alternate reality, I do my political compass test as I play Farmville and catch up on DMs, drinking hot chocolate and thinking the government will save me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know? Excuse me. But like I said, I'm gonna head out. Thank you guys so much. I will talk to you later. Gotta let the cable warm up. That's almost what I was thinking. Is like, what if I gotta let the cable like adjust? What if I gotta let it like get its bearings here? What if that's what it is? What if it needs to warm up, as you said? But there's no way that's it. I just gotta get a new XLR cable. I'm sure they're not like too expensive. But one last time, thank you guys. Till next time, peace out.
Suck Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone. Spinning round and round, bleeding on the ground. Scotty Rocker, laundry killer, no remorse in this beamer. Fabric assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine, no use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, dickhead, there is no resist. Oh,